Live from the 607, it's the Ocho Duro Parlay Hour, where we're talking sports locally and nationally. Join the conversation on our social media with the hashtag ODPH, because here we go.
Instead of looking deep inside, every word I have to say, keep it simple.
Welcome back for another edition of the ODPH podcast, better known as the Ocho Duro Parlay Hour. What is going on? Thank you so much for joining us this week. My name is Ken M. Joining me in studio, as always, you know him. He is the co-host. His name is Padawan J.
Hello, hello, hello.
And also joining us in studio, senior sports editor extraordinaire, your coach, my coach, the coach,
The future coach of the LA Clippers.
Coach Duffy.
Hi, you guys. I've seen better days. It was a long Sunday.
It was a long Sunday for you. It was a
Also
long Sunday
anyone
for me.
And anyone in Atlanta.
Yes, we are going to jump right into the NFL talk because you are tuned into the sports edition of the ODPH podcast. So join in that conversation. Why don't you? On social media, you can find us on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram. Where do you find those links? OchoDuroParlayHour.com. And always remember to use the hashtag ODPH. Yes, let's talk some NFL to kick off the show this week. And we have to go over our locks and leaps. And, Pad, why don't you kick us off with that?
Yeah, so starting with my lock, I took the Indianapolis Colts to beat the New York Jets. And at the time, the Colts were a 10.5-point favorite. And Lord have mercy, did they cover. Winning by the final score of 36-7. Phillip Rivers, 17 of 21 for 217 yards passing, 1 touchdown, no interceptions. On the flip side, Sam Darnold, 17 of 29 for 168 yards, 1 touchdown, 3 interceptions.
Coach, your thoughts?
I mean, I guess I'll start with the negative so we can go to the positive. But my God,
The Jets
are
are
the
bad.
Jets a bad football team?
They're the worst.
I mean,
They're the worst.
we talked about last week, and I'll probably keep rehashing this. No different than the Trevor Lawrence Giants thing. But I mean, you trade Jamal Adams, your defensive star, your cornerstone piece of your defense, and you get future picks back. And you just look decimated. You know, I mean, your defense is in shambles. I mean, the Colts have played good offense, so I mean, I guess you can't really say that, it's all the, how bad the Jets offense is because, 36 points, the Colts are a very good offense, so it's not surprising. But at the same time, it's like, my God, make a stop, get a little bit of offensive momentum here, and they can't. I mean, they're a bad football team overall. You really can't say much. I mean, I don't think it's any fault of Sam Darnold. I don't think he's a terrible. And you can say this about either New York football team quarterback because I said, I tweeted the thing to you guys. They're the one and the same. I don't think either one of them are bad quarterbacks, but I don't think they will be on the teams next year.
Yep.
And I don't think that they won't be a franchise quarterback until they move on and get the hell out of New York because the Jets have they advertise putting talent around Sam Darnold, but they don't. I mean, you let your number one wide receiver from last year go. You didn't make any moves to pick anybody to help him offensively this year. You then, you have Le'Veon Bell, who you signed last year, who has not produced and is injured now. Yeah. So now you're relying on a 37-year-old Frank Gore, who is serviceable.
Say currently the team's leading rusher.
Right, but that's not what you want out of him.
No.
So, it puts a lot on Sam Darnold's shoulders with no wide receiver help, and the offensive line is abysmal.
Yeah.
Pat?
Yeah, no, I agree with everything Coach said. I don't put any of this on Sam Darnold because, as the saying goes, sometimes you got to make chicken salad with chicken shit. And in this case, the Jets front office isn't even giving him chicken shit because, you've got Frank Gore, and he's a serviceable running back, but he's not your star running back. He shouldn't be your starter running back. He's not the guy that you want to hand off to 20, 30 times to really punch, the defense in the mouth and get him going. He's the guy that if you're on second down or third down and you're like maybe an inch away from the goal line, put him in there, go get him, big guy, and punch it in. And on the flip side, they have nothing at their wide receiver core. I mean, they're looking at their receiving for the game. I'm looking at the names. I only recognize Chris Hogan because he was with the Patriots a couple of years ago, but just looking at the names, it's nobody that I'm looking at if I'm doing my fantasy football draft and going, yeah, there's a name I can draft to fill in for one of the weeks my receivers is out. So he didn't even have anything going on the receiving core. And like Coach said, the offensive line is god friggin' awful. I don't know how many sacks Darnold's gotten for the year, but this game he had 2 sacks. So the Jets are just bad, and they really honestly have nothing going for them.
The Jets are the worst team in the NFL.
False.
Well, they're there with Atlanta.
I mean, listen, the Giants just lost to a group of second stringers. So the Giants are the worst.
Also Atlanta, because I saw a thing the other day that for Atlanta to lose that game, and we'll get to them in a minute, it was like a 1 in 999,000 chance of them doing it to lose that game, and they found it.
Right. The Atlanta's in shambles.
Yeah.
But literally, guys, the Giants lost to a second string team. Full.
But my argument about this is the Jets looked worse than the Giants.
No way.
I'm doing the eye test. For me, it did. I'm sorry. Like, I look at this team, and I look at Sam Darnold, and I just don't see it.
No.
And I really am questioning if he can even be a serviceable backup at this point. I'm really having that point because Adam Gase's system is absolutely atrocious.
Well, he's the worst
he is
head coach in the NFL.
Oh, that's a fact.
Yeah.
That's a 100% fact.
My God, I would take McAdoo before I would take Gase.
Yeah.
And that's I mean
I'd
my
take
love
sexy Rexy before him.
for sure. I mean, and my track record with history of McAdoo is not very good.
No,
I've
well documented
I've
on
cut
here.
many of promos on McAdoo, and
Yeah.
I would take him over Gase. Gase is an idiot.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
And he's completely ruined Sam Darnold. And I'm surprised Sam didn't say he was seeing more ghosts, to be honest with you. Like, it's just at that point, 3 interceptions, 168 yards passing, you're not going to get the job done. And the Colts are not exactly the top tier of the NFL.
No.
They're a serviceable team.
I mean, they're not a bad team.
No, they're not bad,
Yeah.
but they're not your Kansas Cities. They're
No.
not your Baltimores. They're not your Seattles. So that all being factored in, this team, you just got to say, okay, the season's done. It's a wrap.
Yeah.
And like I say, I'm looking at them, at least with the Giants, I could see a somewhat direction. Somewhat.
They have pieces.
I will give you the fact that, all right, Barkley's hurt for the year, and Joe Judge is, of the Patriot system, so there's that.
Yeah.
But, I mean, dude, Gettleman came in to run hog molly offense, bring in big offensive linemen.
Yeah.
They're the worst in the league running the ball.
Oh,
I'll probably get a few minutes to vent about the Giants,
Absolutely.
I'm sure. So I'll dive a little bit deeper into that when we get there. But no, I mean, I definitely can understand where your sentiment is that the Jets are a bad football team. But when you look at the fact that top to bottom, you trade your best player, you leave Sam Darnold with nothing. The offensive line's terrible. You got injuries here and there, but like last year, the Jets were up until mono with Darnold were a legitimate playoff threat.
Sure.
And even when he came back, they were getting a little hot until the late stretch of the season where they lost a couple games in a row. So it's like the pieces were. I mean, the Giants have been fucking bad and will stay bad, but the Colts are all right. I mean, the Colts, and to switch gears and be positive, happy Sean now. The Colts are a good football team. Like, I mean, if I was the NFC or the AFC North, I would definitely be a little, or AFC South, I'm sorry, which makes no fucking sense now that I'm saying this, but if I was the AFC.
I got you worked up talking the Giants.
If I was the AFC South, I would be a little worried about the Colts getting hot.
Yeah.
Especially a wild card team.
Yeah, especially because you look at the stats. There wasn't, it's a wide margin of victory here, 36-7. But you look at the stats, beyond passing. Okay, leading rusher was Jonathan Taylor, 13 carries at 59 yards. Not exactly a fantasy winner or anything, jumping out at you. On the receiving side, T.Y. Hilton was their leading receiver, as you'd expect. But it was only 3 catches for 52 yards and no touchdowns. So it's like, it's a big margin, and they look good. They spread the ball pretty damn evenly. But they're looking good.
No, Indianapolis is looking good, and like I say, they could get hot at the right moment. They just need a little more confidence. But Philip Rivers leading that team, he can at least get you to the playoffs. Anything deeper, I don't know.
Suspect.
It's suspect at best.
Sure.
But he has been a steady hand leading that offense, especially they do have a young running back in Jonathan Taylor who's really breaking out now, 59 yards and a touchdown. T.Y. Hilton is a solid receiver, so he can definitely lead your receiving core.
Correct.
I don't know if he's exactly in that top number one conversation.
Not
anymore. I mean, he was.
No.
He had a good stretch run, but he's serviceable for what you need.
On the other side of 30. So
Yeah, so I mean, it is what it is. Father Time intervenes, and hey, it is. I'm not saying he's completely washed up, but he's on that end where it's like your prime years are starting to fade a little bit. But the Colts can definitely make a run in a weak division.
Yeah, they'll have a real tough schedule, though. Their bye week is week 7. This upcoming week, they're going to Chicago and playing the Bears. After their bye week, they've got Detroit, and then listen to this stretch. Baltimore, Tennessee, Green Bay, Tennessee again.
Yeah, Tennessee is no joke. So, I mean, that's going to be your top tier of the AFC South. I mean, Houston is not looking good, and Jacksonville, enough said.
Yep.
So, looking forward to the next week, though. The Jets, I'm just now on the Gase is getting released watch, and
Pass to.
yeah.
No, not. Yeah, I mean,
it's a matter of when. It's not a matter of if.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just to see that if they're in the tank for Trevor conversation, but I do hope he winds up.
No,
with
that's
the
what
Giants.
the fucking scary thing is that they have the higher strength of schedule.
Yeah.
So if they both finish 0-16, which is
It's
looking
possible.
real possible,
Yeah.
as depressing as that is to say,
Right.
they would get the first pick. So, yikes.
Crazier things have happened.
Yeah.
But this is why we watch the games.
Yep.
Pad, so who'd you got for your leap?
So for my leap, I was looking at the Chicago Bears taking on the Atlanta Falcons because Atlanta was favored by 3.5 points, and I said, yeah, I don't know if I buy that, especially coming off the abysmal performance they had the week prior. And I got to admit, I was sweating for a little bit, but then Atlanta remembered who they are, or maybe who they're not, and they blew another lead. So Chicago ended up defeating the Atlanta Falcons by the final score of 30-26. Nick Foles, 16 of 29 for 188 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. And then a benched Mitchell Trubisky had 13 of 22 for 128 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. And then on the flip side, Matt Ryan, 19 of 38 for 238 yards passing, 1 touchdown, 1 interception.
Coach, who is Atlanta?
What is Atlanta? I'm not even going to talk Atlanta. I've already said what I need to say about them, which is they need to burn the stadium to the ground. They need to fire everything from ownership, top to bottom. I'm sorry, Art Blank. You got to let go of them. Everything, you stink. You're all associated with that filth. Burn it down. Bears. I mean, Mitch Trubisky had played well the past 2 games. I mean, you can definitely tell that, this was more of a thing where it was probably an ownership GM versus coach decision with, Foles versus Trubinsky. I mean, everybody had Foles penciled in to be the starter coming out of
Super
camp.
Bowl MVP.
So, sure, you sign him you trade him from Jacksonville. You give up a hefty amount to get him.
Yeah.
I think a 3rd-round pick, which I mean for an aging quarterback is a lot.
Yep.
So everybody had Foles penciled in. They come out of camp. Obviously COVID, an abbreviated camp with no preseason, so not a real true competition. Trubinsky comes out the winner. A lot of people are surprised by that. I'm sure probably Nagy was, maybe. I mean, I don't know. I'm just theorizing that maybe there was a little bit of pressure from the top of the organization. Hey, play Trubinsky, give him the ball early, and Nagy was basically just looking for a reason to pull him, and he got it this game because they were down big. I'm 20
after the 20. So after the 3rd quarter, they were down 26-10.
So they were down 16 points, not playing very well. Interception. So in comes Big Nick and leads them to victory. So to me, that's just writing on the wall that Nagy had, his mind made up that Nick Foles was going to be the guy. He just needs for the right opportunity to happen, and this was this game.
Yeah.
Pat?
I mean, in regards to Atlanta, we've said everything about it, but I think the one thing that just needs to be said is
Burn it to the ground.
that head coach needs to go.
Yeah.
Dan
Quinn's got to go.
The whole thing needs to go.
Dan Quinn's got to go. It's awful. For me, he's up there with Adam Gase because to blow that big lead, those 2 big leads in back-to-back weeks, and the one statistic I saw, and I alluded to it, was, I know at one point, if you follow that win probability thing on certain gamecasts, at one point, the Atlanta Falcons had either like a 99.3% chance to win or a 99.1% chance to win. And it was a 1 in 999,000 chance of them losing the game. And they found the one. It's just an awful performance, and in regards to Chicago, maybe this is, they're 3-0. They got, 2-0 in the division or whatever it is, but they're looking good. They've named Nick Foles their starter for this upcoming week. So, but I think it's suffice to say the wheels have fallen off for Maserati Mitch.
Yeah, Maserati Mitch is getting parked in the garage. And it goes back to show that no matter how much a quarterback looks the part, they might not be the part. And I
Daniel
stress
Jones.
Well, I stress this because GMs fall in love with the prototypes.
6'4", 6'5", throws a really good out pass. They love, for whatever fucking reason, general managers love guys who can run, who can throw that 15-yard out and hit it.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what Trubinsky and Jones, these
Creatures
quarterbacks,
of habit.
Yeah, that these quarterbacks, can do in college, and then all of a sudden, once that window tightens up in the NFL, and routes aren't ran the same way, and there's, playbook's expanded, and then they're deer in headlights. And not to say that Trubinsky's not a good quarterback, because he's played well in certain instances. It's just obviously against upper echelon teams or teams of better caliber, it's garbage.
And I think that losing as bad as they were to Atlanta, you had to do the shift.
Yeah.
You had to shift it.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason is going to be in the future for where he winds up, Trubisky has to look back at his time in Chicago and just figure out what went wrong. And I think for him, it's like he's played good in spots. He's played good.
Right.
Not great.
Sure.
And obviously when they signed Nick Foles, the writing was on the wall, especially to go get an aging quarterback. Like Foles has only had success in Philadelphia, let's be honest.
Yeah.
Oh, he had a little bit of a stretch in, what was it, Kansas City? He had like a couple, filled in.
Like for a cup of
Yeah,
coffee.
yeah. He had that's what got him re-signed in Philly, was he had a decent performance in Kansas City.
Or was it Los Angeles?
Was it the Rams?
I'm looking it up.
All right. Well, either way,
he was in Kansas City.
Yeah.
My bad.
He was
no,
also,
it's all right.
He was in both, though. He was in St. Louis as well. He was in St. Louis in 2015, and then in 2016 he was with Kansas City, and then 2017 he went back to Philly.
So he had that one. He had, I think, like
St. Louis. He had 11. He played 11 games. Had just over 2,000 yards passing.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, either way, he played well in a spot with Kansas City, came back to Philly. Obviously, Carson Wentz goes down, wins the Super Bowl. Magical ride. Everything's hunky-dory. Then all of a sudden, Wentz comes back. He gets benched. Controversy. Leaves Jacksonville. Plays terrible because Jacksonville's a bad team, and now here he is in Chicago.
Yeah, so obviously he's going to have a higher expectation on him for the paycheck he's getting.
Yeah.
And he could be the spark that turns the Bears around per se, because even though they're 3-0, it hasn't been a pretty 3-0.
It's because that Giants game was definitely hairy in the fourth quarter because the Giants were starting to itch their way back in.
Yeah, so it's not like the Chicago being a 3-0 team is on the upper echelon of the league,
right?
Because they're barely beating the bad team.
Sure,
that's the takeaway I got from this. So if they want to try switching things up with Foles, sure. Maserati Mitch, the experiment has failed. So he has to leave if he's going to try being a starter somewhere. Who knows where he's going to wind up?
Yeah.
But for him, you can also look back that obviously they had some different offensive coordinators, different coaches, whatever the case is. It still comes down to when you're on the field, do you make the plays? And he didn't. And it's one of those things that as a typical quarterback prototype coming out of college, it doesn't pan out.
Well, and I was willing to give Trubisky the benefit of the doubt and give him some time and this and that. But for me, I think enough time has passed that he's not the quarterback that will lead you to playoff wins or will lead you to a Super Bowl. He's the quarterback that, like with Tom Brady and 2009 ACL went out.
Yep.
He's the guy that steps in for the starter and fills in because your starter's gone down hurt. He's the guy that comes in if your backup quarterback is like Joe No Name from unheard D3 school with no playing experience in the NFL. That Trubisky's available. Let's just we're not going to get anywhere. Let's just sign him and bring him in.
Yeah.
And in regards to the Bears schedule, Foles has got his work cut out for him. Next week they play the Colts, and then listen to this stretch. They got Tampa Bay the week after. They go to Carolina. Then they go to play the Rams, Saints, Titans, Vikings, bye week in week 11. And coming out of the bye week, they got to play Green Bay.
It's a tough stretch, so we'll see what the Bears are really made of. That being said, Coach, let us go to your lock.
Well, my lock first. All right, I was going to start with the sadness. Let's start leap. Let's go sad and then positive.
Whatever you feel.
Yeah, so I had Washington football team who were getting 7 points against Cleveland, to at least cover, because I definitely thought 7 points was a lofty spread for a Cleveland team that has not necessarily shown up. And all of a sudden, Cleveland remembered how to run the ball. Pat.
Yeah, no. So Cleveland ended up winning the game by a final score of 34-20. Baker Mayfield, 16 of 23 for 156 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Dwayne Haskins Jr., 21 of 37 for 224 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions.
So
Yeah, I mean, Cleveland remembered how to run the football. And when you have 2 stud running backs in Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt, give the rock to them. Let them run the ball and then build on, play action and let, Baker Mayfield have the ability to stretch the field a little bit by, running play action stuff. And, you have the wide receivers that are capable in Beckham and Landry to do those kind of things. And obviously, that's the blueprint Cleveland needs to follow. I think if they continue to run the ball first and be a run team and then build on the pass after that, I think Cleveland obviously has the pieces. We've gone over it millions of times to be a successful team. Do I think it's going to yield playoff results this year? No. But I definitely think that they're going to mucky up the AFC North if they continue to play like this. They might steal a game against Baltimore or Pittsburgh, that will muddy up the waters. But no, I don't see them as a playoff team. And then on the flip side, Washington here, you're getting 7 points. I'm thinking, all right, you played well week 1, snuck out a win. Okay, had a bad performance against Arizona, so here's your bounce-back opportunity against the lonely Cleveland team. Well, apparently Dwayne Haskins had other things in mind as he decided to throw the ball to the wrong team 3 times.
Yeah.
So that's a little frustrating. I was a little higher on this Washington team. Chase Young going down obviously helps them none. And turning over the ball doesn't help either. So Ron Rivera definitely needs to figure something out as far as limiting the turnovers, whether that's, trying to get the ball, into, your running back's hands or maybe running some quicker passes so Dwayne Haskins doesn't need to step back, drop back so far and throw longer, plays that are leading to these interceptions. I don't know. But either way, damn, I was wrong.
Yeah, no, I thought Washington would be able to sneak this out as well just because Cleveland hasn't looked all that stellar, the lone exception being the Thursday night game the week prior, and I figure Washington, up-and-coming team, not a whole lot, going against them, nobody expecting a lot. Maybe they'll be able to sneak this one out. But, yeah, Cleveland ended up proving right. And, I mean, the one play that's sticking out to me was the one I saw where Myles Garrett had a hold of Haskins' undershirt and wouldn't let it go and was stretching it out to ridiculous lengths. So when you got a defense that, you look at the stats, 3 interceptions, and also Haskins got sacked 3 times. So Cleveland's defense definitely stepped up a bit, and they got to be given their applause for that.
Let us just know this fact. For the first time since 2014, the Cleveland Browns have a winning record.
Hey, 2-1. Kudos.
And is this the team that we've been waiting to see? Jury is still out.
Maybe.
But I will say this, and to kind of piggyback off what Coach was saying. Once they remembered they had a run game, the Browns are pretty good.
Well, because let's not forget last year against a very good Patriots defense, they ran the ball down their throat and the Patriots couldn't stop it.
Yeah,
until they forgot to run and then started passing.
Yeah, because once you take the ball out of Baker Mayfield's hands and let him trust his playmakers in Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt, you can hang in games and you can win some that you probably shouldn't. This one, Washington was Washington, and then we realized that maybe this team is not the runaway success that we thought they were.
Not yet,
but they're definitely contenders. They're contenders, I will say, for a wild card. But obviously, they can win a weaker division.
Well, right now they're tied for first in the division.
Yeah. So there's a lot.
You're saying there's a chance.
There's a lot you can build off of. But for Cleveland, I think this is a good win, and obviously Baker played okay, and the rest of the offense looked serviceable. I think that's the biggest takeaway from this, that they didn't look like the absolute train wreck that they've looked in previous games.
Sure.
And to see them maybe start to slowly make the changes to be competitive, and especially looking at the Pittsburghs and Baltimores in that division, they got to compete with their neighbors. And they definitely have to, keep up with the Joneses, as they say.
I mean, the talent's there, and we've said it. Yeah. We've talked about it. You can't have those, type of playmakers and not be successful. It's like, it's almost insane to think of the level of talent that they have both offensively and defensively, and they just never been able to put it together. So at some point, something had to click.
And it finally looks like it did, or at least for this week it did. I'll say that. To see how they play in the future is anybody's guess. But when Mayfield isn't forced or trying to make plays that aren't there, he looked very good.
Yeah. Well, for Cleveland's next few games, they've got Dallas, Indianapolis, Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, and then the Raiders.
There are some winnable games there.
Yeah.
Some.
Yeah.
I mean, it just depends on what team shows up. Will the real Cleveland Browns step up? Please step up. For Washington, still some work to be had, but they, for being in the NFC East, and we've talked about arguably the weakest division in all of football.
Insane to hear.
Yeah, I'm not trying to dig at you, Coach.
It's all right, guys.
It is what it is.
What it is. I mean, 1-2 is 7-9 is going to win the division.
Yeah,
So good luck the next 2 weeks.
What you got?
So this coming Sunday they play Baltimore, and then the week after they play the Rams. It's going to be ugly.
It's going to be a lot ugly to watch.
So, I've seen the point spread on Baltimore. It's ugly.
Oh, we'll get into that in Locks and Leaves because I have a feeling that might make an appearance.
Yeah.
So, Coach.
And the happier side, my lock was the Seattle Seahawks going against, another NFC East team in the Dallas Cowboys. The line was 5, and Seattle was winning by more than 5. Pat, go ahead.
Yeah, so Seattle won the game by the final score of 38-31. Russell Wilson, 27 of 40 for 315 yards passing, 5 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. And then Dak Prescott, 37 of 57 for 472 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions.
Coach.
I will say this, that my God, is Seattle's offense
scary.
Quite possibly the scariest offense in all of the football.
I'll say, what was the thing I saw that Wilson has the most touchdowns in NFL history through 3 games? It's like 14 or 15 or something like that.
It's some ridiculous stat like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's uncanny. Like, him and Metcalf just click on a level that is...
it's Montana Rice level.
Yeah, is it Montana Rice, Steve Young Rice, Irving Aikman level? I mean, it's nuts how efficient they are. Metcalf's sure hands. I mean, I know he dropped, at one point he dropped like a 7-yard slant that would have led to a first down that they kind of needed to build a little bit of momentum on. So what? He caught how many, 30-plus yarders that are just dropping in the breadbasket? It's nuts. Yeah. And I mean, when you factor in the fact that they have the ability with Chris Carson and their, running back by committee to run the ball a little bit, is very dangerous. Russell Wilson 1,000% needs to be in MVP discussions. It's robbery that he hasn't been before. This year should be the year that he's at least given a vote, let alone win the award. I mean, I know the quarterback position right now with, Mahomes and Lamar Jackson and the way Cam Newton's playing, it's very difficult to be in that discussion, but Russell or Aaron Rodgers, but Russell Wilson should be right there. I mean, if not for him, this team is not the same team. They are very, very good. And I mean, on the flip side of it, the Cowboys are the Cowboys. Yeah. Once again, you have one of the premier running backs in all the NFL, and he's only touching the ball. I mean, a grand total of 14 times in the run game. That's just, that's not enough. And, I get it that Seattle's run defense is pretty good. But, if you're talking to me, and the score kind of dictated the way that they played, but it's similar to the Buffalo game on Thanksgiving. Yeah. Right. You have to get Zeke going. Right. Like, you have to. And I understand you have, Michael Gallup and Amari Cooper and CeeDee Lamb and a good tight end, and you've got all these weapons, but you can't forget to run the ball. You can't. It's just Dak Prescott is a much better quarterback when he is not having to throw 57 times a game. Yeah. I'm sorry, Dallas fans. Yeah. Newsflash. He's not that type of quarterback. He's a very solid playing quarterback, but he cannot throw 57 times and expect to win. No. It's just he's not that player. No. And to me it's you got to run the ball, you got to get it to Zeke, and they just time and time again, it doesn't matter who's in charge, whether it's Mike McCarthy or not, they just forget to run the ball.
Am I wrong with saying that? I just want to piggyback on something before Pat jump in. Am I wrong to say that they are very similar to Cleveland in that sense?
Well, yeah. I guess when you talk skill player-wise, sure. I think Dak Prescott's a little bit of a better quarterback than Baker Mayfield today. You know, as of right now, Dak, his arm's a little bit stronger. You know, a little more efficient in the pocket. Doesn't freak out and try to scramble as much as Baker tries to do, and doesn't force as many plays necessarily. I mean, I know he had 2 interceptions, but a couple of those, the 2 interceptions were coverage interceptions. It was, you know, I don't know. I mean, I know that Dallas can be better, and defensively they're not good, which is killing them.
Defensively is killing them.
Yeah, defensively is killing them. But at the same time, all right, if your defense is weak, what helps make up for a weak defense? Running the ball and controlling the clock. And throwing 57 times does not do that. Running 57 times is what controls the clock. That's why Tennessee and Baltimore, you know, you saw it in the game against Kansas City on Monday night. If you guys watched that, you know, they started out running the ball and were getting 6 to 7 yards a clip. You know, this is what Tennessee does, 6 to 7 yards a clip. And then all of a sudden the time starts ticking down and you start eating a little bit more clock and eating a little more clock. And your defense isn't on the field as much. So your strength is running the ball. Your best defense is a good offense. And they need to keep their defense off the field, and they're not doing that right now.
No, I fully agree, and that's why I say the comparison I'm seeing is a lot like Cleveland. That if you don't get your running game going to the extent that they are, you're forcing your quarterback to really pick up a lot of slack. Now, is Dak better than Baker? Yeah, I fully say that. But it's similar in that sense that when you're giving Zeke less than 20 carries in your game. And I was actually surprised McCarthy did this. That was a play call, like, I'm just kind of like, why wouldn't you give him the ball more?
I mean, not even just 20 carries, just 20. I mean, I would like to see 20 to 30 touches.
Yeah, that's what
screen passes, bubble, you know, just swing passes, just get the ball in Zeke's hands.
Yeah, because, I mean, he had a total, if you're counting passes and rushes, he had 20 right on the money.
Yeah,
but
that's not enough.
No, but you need to give him enough carries. I should probably word that a little. Give him more carries to get him going, because he's not that guy that can just flip it on and catch his passes out the gate. He's somebody that has to get his gears in motion. And if he doesn't, it takes him a little longer, in my opinion, to get going.
Well, I think that, and when you run him downhill, you know, he's one of those backs that, like, teams don't want to try to tackle him.
Yeah.
No. He's going to create contact, and that wears, you know, I think the team that you would want to compare them to the most is that Rams team of 2 years ago that played New England in the Super Bowl.
Yes.
Once they were unable to run the ball with Todd Gurley, once he got hurt, and, you know, they brought in C.J. Anderson, who was another bigger back, you know, these teams don't want to tackle these bigger backs because they bruise you. They just pound it. So when you aren't doing that and you aren't, you know, wearing down the defense, they have energy in life, and that's when, you know, you're throwing 57 times a game, and, you know, a la Jared Goff, you know, with all Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods and all the talent that they had a wide receiver, you know, Brandon Cooks that year, you saw once they had to throw the ball that they were limited.
Yep.
That's this.
You know, in regards to going back to something you said about Russell Wilson, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, he's moved into the Vegas favorite to win MVP this year, which absolutely should. He's throwing touchdowns at a clip that we haven't seen before, and they're just gorgeous passes.
I mean,
as somebody who has Russell Wilson and DK Metcalf on his fantasy team, I appreciate the hell out of him. Just not that knocked out deep pass that was early in the game.
I literally, I mean, there was, I mean, the pass against the Patriots and then the one that he had against Dallas, like, weren't I mean, it's like, you know, we saw all the off-season stuff that Russell was doing, and everybody was like, oh, ho-hum, look at him, you know, but then it's like, then you see him actually apply it in game, and you're like, God damn, that is a beautiful pass. Like,
it's just,
wow.
It's just something that he gets slept on a lot, because I don't know if it's that he's in Seattle and doesn't have a major city media behind him, per se, but he's always been very even keel for being very good.
Sure.
And you know what you get out of him, and like you touched upon, if he's not that quarterback, this team is not 3-0 by a long shot.
No.
He makes up a lot of ground for their offense, because, granted, they have an emerging star in DK Metcalf, rather.
Sure.
But after that, I mean, Tyler Lockett is hit and miss. I would say he's...
I mean, he's a very, very consistent guy, but there are moments where, you know, it might be like a Julian Edelman where he might only have like 3 grabs for 36 yards. You know what I mean? But like those 36 yards are gonna be legit, like, consistent. It's just, you know, there might be a game where all of a sudden, like Edelman, you know, he's got 107 yards, but that's because he's able to get open in the middle of the field.
Right, but you know what you get out of
Right,
it.
right,
That's what I
right.
say. Like, they don't have the superstar talent of a Cleveland, per se, or a Kansas City to a certain degree.
Well, yeah, because, DK Metcalf, for as great as he's going to be, is still only in his second year.
Right.
So, as far as, like, an emerging star, I said last year I wanted the Giants to draft him, and I'll say it again this year. The kid's going to be great.
Yeah, he's going to be absolutely great. And for what Russell can do with this offense, especially with a running back by committee,
Uh-huh.
Sure. As long as Chris Carson can stay healthy, he's going to be the bona fide number one. There's no question of that.
Oh, yeah.
But his running style, I would say, would make you worry some of that, but he runs at such a hard pace.
Well, it doesn't help that Hill, did that twist of his knee, which was complete bullshit. Which
Yeah.
a lot of former players came out and was like, he's going to get his comeuppance, which I totally agree, because not only did he take a pop shot at Russell Wilson that helped them get their 2-point conversion back, but then you saw this twist of the knee and you're like, come on, guy, like, what are we trying to do here?
Yeah, stuff like that kind of gets worked out if you if you read between the lines, so to speak. But to get back to what Seattle is, Seattle is the real contender, and Russell Wilson is your current MVP if the season ends today. There's no question of that.
No,
you can't
absolutely
argue.
not.
Mahomes is great. Lamar Jackson is great. Aaron Rodgers is great. But I'm sorry, if you have to say the season's done right now, Russell Wilson is doing more with less, and he has them right now on the road to the Super Bowl. We all gave on our prediction show.
He's just dominating opposing defenses at a clip that I can't remember the last time I saw it. For all Brady's MVP season and Mahomes' performance and all this, I've just not seen anybody drop in deep passes like Wilson is, and just effortlessly.
Yeah, we all talk about the video game style of Mahomes and Lamar Jackson, and I think Russell Wilson gets lost in the shuffle because he's not that big personality, but he wins, and he wins a lot. So for Seattle, the winnings continue. For Dallas, they have some work to do per se, but like we touched upon, if Zeke is not started, they're going to falter. Enough said. So let us get to my locks and leaps, and we'll kick off with my lock, and I'll just hand the reins over to the Patriot fan in the room because I know he's super excited about this.
Yeah.
So, Pat, take it away.
Yeah, so you took the New England Patriots to defeat the Las Vegas, God, that's still weird saying, Raiders, and they did by the final score of 36-20. Cam Newton, 17 of 28 for 162 yards passing, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. And then on the flip side, Derek Carr, 24 of 32 for 261 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions.
Coach, your thoughts?
I said this on the live stream when we were watching the UFC that the Raiders were going to get their comeuppance here, and Rich didn't necessarily take well to that, but the writing was on the wall. You have a short week. You're coming off of a Monday big emotional win in your home stadium against a really good Saints team. You're riding high. You got to travel east. You're playing at a 1:00 game. I had Patriots written all over it, especially the fact that they were, able to get Cam going, as far as having a run game for him that was consistent with Sony Michel just being able to break off big runs. Obviously Cam got in the mix too. So, I said Cam's in my, MVP discussion, and I know, Russell Wilson might be number one, but if not, then Cam Newton's comeback player of the year.
Absolutely.
He's been tremendous the year. And on the flip side of the Raiders, the 2-1, they've played really well in their 2 wins. So, are they necessarily in contention in the West? Probably not, but like a Cleveland team, they might muddy up the waters for some of these teams looking to get into the playoffs, and they might steal a win from like a Chargers team that might make a push, or whoever else they have or maybe even a Buffalo team that is going to look to win the division. They might steal a win from them. So I definitely think the Raiders are on the way up. They found something and a little bit of an identity. Josh Jacobs is obviously a premier running back who unfortunately, was limited a little bit. He still had 16 carries, but obviously was not 100% going into this game. So, that's tough. And, you're definitely not going to be able to beat, a New England team if you're not 100%. So, the Raiders are on their way up, and, I think the Patriots are a very good football team.
Yeah, no, they were very good. And, I think it's just a case of, going into halftime 13-10 to the Patriots' favor. I think it was just a case of the Patriots made adjustments and then the Raiders didn't, because you come out of it, third quarter, New England puts up 10 points, Vegas puts up nothing, and then Patriots put up another 13 to the Raiders 10 for the final score. And it was definitely a case of, especially early in that game, that just they'd run hurry up, they'd do whatever, and they just passed the ball, and the Patriots just couldn't stop it for anything.
Right.
I know that was the one thing that I'm sitting there like, are we going to, defend the pass here? Because let's not forget, Derek Carr, 261 yards passing. And on the flip side, I think you got to give a big shout out to, obviously you mentioned Sony Michel, but I think Rex Burkhead, who had a monster game, 6 carries for 49 yards, 2 touchdowns, but then also 7 catches for 40 catches receiving for 49 yards, and then 1 touchdown, 3 touchdowns in the game. I think that, because even Cam said after the game that he didn't play all that good.
Right.
And I definitely think Burkhead stepped up and picked up the slack a little bit.
No, I definitely agree. I mean, I was sitting there watching the game with you, and Patriots looked like the Patriots. And that's not a bad thing. You might expect that they would have had a big drop-off with Tom Brady, and you didn't know what you're going to get out of Cam Newton, but 3 games in.
Right, and especially with the 8 or 9 defensive starters that aren't playing this year.
Yeah, I mean, give the Devils their due.
Yeah.
The Patriots are doing Patriot things, and they haven't missed a beat. In fact, they look better.
Yeah.
Cam Newton is definitely your comeback player of the year. There's no argument about this. I'm sorry. What he's been able to do with the team around him, he is basically doing what he did in Carolina, but better.
Mm-hmm.
And he has more teammates that are buying into the next man up mentality, so to speak. Because every game, it's somebody different for him. But this is the Patriots' way. They don't do it with superstars. They find ways to make it happen. So Cam is definitely leading this team in the right direction. And as for the Raiders, like Coach touched upon, you came off from that emotional Monday night win, and you knew that this was going to be a true test for them. Did they hang? Yes.
Yeah.
So it's not to say that the Raiders are going to fall off and now they're going to go on a big losing streak. No. But I think that we know what we're getting out of Derek Carr. They really got challenged. They do have some work to do. They're not fully there yet, per se. But they're in the right directions, which I think for Vegas is a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
And definitely they have some room to work with because they have to be able to compete with Kansas City.
Mm-hmm.
They have to win their division at some point. So if they're not on that Kansas City level, they got work to do. But they're definitely stepping in the right direction.
Yeah, and they definitely got some work the next few weeks, because this coming week they play your Buffalo Bills. After that, they travel to Kansas City and play the Chiefs. They have a bye week in Week 6. And coming out of the bye week, they got to go. They stay home and they play the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Well, that's a heck of a stretch, but we'll see what Vegas is made of. It's not to say it's unheard of for them to get rolling, but they, like I said, they got to look up at the Chiefs and kind of see what they're made of.
This is true.
And going to my leap, perfect segue. Dare I say, was this the game of the weekend?
This was the game that made me sweat the most, I'm not going to lie.
So, Pad, break it down.
Yeah, so you chose, I forget what the line was, but I believe
3.5.
Yep, and the Kansas City Chiefs ended up, being the underdogs and winning the game by the final score of 34-20. Patrick Mahomes, 31 of 42 for 385 yards passing, 4 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Lamar Jackson, 15 of 28 for 97 yards passing, 1 touchdown, 0 interceptions.
Coach?
Yikes. Baltimore.
Yep.
Yikes.
Yep.
I mean, this had, Kansas City coming off of a big emotional win against the Chargers, fighting their way back into the game, last second field goal to win, necessarily maybe not having the energy to get back up to play on a Monday night game, against Baltimore at home. And boy, did Baltimore put up a just dud of a performance on national TV. Mm-hmm. If I am a Baltimore fan, I know you're going to probably try and sell the, blah, 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 this, that, or the third. But if I'm a Baltimore fan, I'm very concerned that if we can't beat Kansas City with all those things on the wall, I'm concerned because that's a game that you need to win. To me, this is a Monday night game. You've shown that Kansas City definitely has your number on you. So here's a time and an opportunity to come out and win a game, and Kansas City just drops it on you from every angle. And Kansas City's offense, I think, is one of the most beautiful things to watch as far as scheme, play design, play calling. My hat is off to the offensive coordinator. I don't have his name right now because it's escaping me. Pad's going to look it up. But he is, and he's the one who's calling the plays. Mm-hmm. I know Andy Reid has his fingertips on the pulse of the team, but he's calling the plays, and he does not get enough credit. I know that there was some offseason, discussions, for him to get a head coaching job. Nothing really, came of it. But, I mean, he's brilliant. They literally, they out-schemed Baltimore top to bottom. Baltimore had no idea what they were doing. When Baltimore ran zone, they ran underneath. When they ran man, they stretched the field. When they were pressuring, they were running screens. There was one point that they set up, there's two plays in particular that just stand out to me, and they were early in the game. And I popped. As a guy who loves play designs and coaching and all that shit, I popped. It was a screen pass that looked like it was going to be a bubble screen to Tyreek Hill on the outside, which, the tight end helps stay in to block, the edge rusher so the quarterback can get out to the bubble. And Travis Kelce slipped. Mm-hmm. And he just slipped right out. So all the attention's going to Tyreek Hill going to the outside, and he just slips right out. Boom. Easy pass from Mahomes, 10-yard completion, first down, we're moving the chains. The second play was Tyreek Hill's lined up in the backfield as a running back. They make it look like it's going to be a stretch, type run option pass with Mahomes coming off the bootleg. And the fullback, I believe Henderson is his name, sneaks. And they just throw in a quick he throws that one of those little shovel underhand passes, and he walks right into the end zone because, again, all the attention is being shifted to Mahomes and Hill as they stretch to the outside of the field. Mm-hmm. That is just, you can't cover that. Baltimore, with the read options and Jackson's speed and, Ingram's ability to run downhill and Hollywood Brown being able to stretch the field, as far as being a wide receiver downfield and Andrews being a great tight end. Like, they have all the weapons in the world. But Kansas City does it at such an efficient level that it's like, it just blows your mind. When I saw that Travis Kelce play, I literally, my jaw hit the ground. I screamed at Aaron. I was like, holy shit, that was the best play design I've ever seen. That was, what are you talking about? I explain everything to her. It goes right over her head, but whatever. It was that good. And that's what Kansas City does every week. Yeah. Every week. You never know how to scheme for them.
Yeah, and for the record, the offensive coordinator for Kansas City is Eric Bieniemy.
The guy's a genius. Like, as much as I love Steve Spagnuolo, which has obviously been documented, he is damn brilliant. Fuck. It's so smart. And, forget, then the running back. Yeah. Fuck, they're loaded. Loaded.
Yeah. No, this was a great game for Kansas City. Not so good game for Baltimore. Great game for my fantasy team because I was going into this game looking pretty good. I had Russell Wilson, who scored me 36, almost 37 points. Metcalf, who got me 15 even. I had Dalvin Cook get me 23. Kamara got me 31. And I'm sitting there going, I should be good. And then I looked at the points, and I was only up 15 points going into Monday night when my opponent had Lamar Jackson, and I'm going, shit, I'm about to lose this. So I'm not going to lie. This game made me sweat more than some Super Bowls have, but I ended up coming out victorious on this one. And no, for Baltimore, you got to figure this one out, because Lamar Jackson is now 0-3 against Patrick Mahomes. It's been compared that Patrick Mahomes is Lamar Jackson's kryptonite. You got to figure out what you can do and how you beat this team, because right now they got your number and it's not even a question.
I think Baltimore's play calling in the first half was really kind of questionable too.
Sure.
Like, I didn't understand a lot of what they were trying to establish, because the major thing to beat Kansas City is the same way you used to beat Peyton Manning. Mm-hmm. You need to be successful running the ball and keeping him off the field and stop him from getting a rhythm. If you can do that, you can do a lot of things. We saw this a little bit in the Super Bowl too, when San Francisco was doing it, and then all of a sudden we start passing. Why? Because once you start doing that and you give Mahomes enough time to get a rhythm going, not saying he's got to be throwing touchdowns left and right, but you give him enough time to get the ball rolling and get some comfort level in, he's almost impossible to beat.
Yeah.
And the fact Baltimore couldn't keep him off the field that long, they need to come up with a scheme to find a way to do it.
Yeah, it's called run the ball. Yeah. It's called dominate time of possession. It's called Mark Ingram on first, second, and then Lamar Jackson on third down.
Well, and they need to establish that, but if Ingram's only getting 30 yards, Gus Edwards only got 39.
Well, they forgot about the run. Yeah. They literally, Riddick talked about it. He goes, after the first half, they were like, Baltimore was running the ball efficiently.
Yeah. Mhm.
And then all of a sudden they forgot how to do it.
Very quickly, because I'm looking at the play-by-play on the ESPN.com recap of the game, and their first play where they got that field goal, it was
Right.
11 plays, 5 minutes 40 seconds. After that, they had a series that went 2 minutes and 31 seconds. Everything after that is like a minute or less.
Yeah, you can't do that.
Their next long series of plays wasn't until the second half of the game, where they went 12 plays for 55 yards, got a field goal, 6 minutes and 43 seconds. Like, you need more consistent time on the field.
Yeah, you have to build that consistency, because if you don't have it, you're going to be looking at the loss column.
Well, it's like, because you got what is it on the play clock? 30 seconds, 40 seconds,
40
seconds. Use them. If
Yeah.
that clock's running, use them.
That's what Eli was was notorious for running the play clock down to the final Omaha, which he fucking created. Omaha to snap the ball right away because the play clock was running down and they had the play call.
Yeah.
Also, I would like to touch on Pat's little fantasy thing for everybody out there. Grab the other team's kicker. If you are playing a guy with a quarterback, grab their kicker.
Yeah.
Stop fucking holding on to kickers, people. It is embarrassing for you in fantasy football. Drop your fucking kicker, carry an extra roster position, and then find the team that you're going against quarterback, find their kicker, and then play them. Because when they score 4, you will score 1. When they get held up on a drive, you will make out because you will get the field goal while they are getting stopped on 4th down.
Well, one of the things that helped my opponent in fantasy this week is he had Gostkowski, who had 25 fucking points.
You're looking at this guy who also was going against Tannehill, who picked up Gostkowski. Ken, I'm looking at you. Mm-hmm. Somebody's holding on to Kansas City's kicker because, oh, God, they score a lot of points, so I'm going to get 9 field goals a game because they're going to score 9 touchdowns. I'm going to make a trade for that damn kicker because I want those 9 points.
Should I be looking for my emails right now?
I mean, nobody's going to, I'm going to offer, what am I going to offer? Phillip Rivers for a kicker, and somebody's going to be like, no, this is ridiculous, But people, seriously, stream kickers. Stop holding on to kickers. Stop doing it. You're knuckleheads.
Fantasy football advice from the one and only Coach Duffy.
You're knuckleheads.
At Coach Duffy11 on Twitter. But no, Kansas City, like I say, they look like the team to beat. And
hell yeah, they do.
Teams got to figure out a way to slow them down.
Baltimore had everything in their corner to win this game. And Kansas City just out-schemed them completely.
They did, but one thing about the Ravens is taking a loss like this, they're going to come back better the next time.
Mm-hmm. There's not going to be like a hangover from this.
They won't. They won't be Atlanta. No, they'll definitely bounce back.
But I definitely think that this is now in their heads that they are 0-3 against this team because it can't not be.
I fully agree with you, and that's why I think they're going to bounce back with a better performance.
This is different than like Kansas City, New England.
Yeah,
because Kansas City played them to that overtime game. Kansas City knew the next year if they had to play them, they were going to beat them. Mm-hmm. This is different. I think that Baltimore is like, we have to make sure we avoid Kansas City at all costs come the playoffs because we can't beat them.
I fully agree with you on that. So let's go into the red zone recap, Coach. The floor is yours.
Listen, if the Giants fall and get the number 1 pick and don't draft Trevor Lawrence, I'm fucking done. I'm done. I'm going to say it time and time again. This was, Giants fans, I know I'm a voice of reason, but this is the most pathetic performance I think I've seen out of this football team in 33, I think I am, years of existence, and probably 25 of them I've been watching legitimate football and knowing what's going on. This was abysmal, top to bottom. You lost to a San Francisco team that was starting a second-string quarterback, a second-string running back, second-string wide receiver, a second-string left tackle, or second-string center and right guard, a second-string corner, a second-string safety, and a whole entire second string of defensive line. Mm-hmm. And you still couldn't do anything at all. It is pathetic. Gettleman has to get fired. I feel so bad for Daniel Jones because I don't think that this has anything to do with him. Do I think he's going to be a great quarterback? I said it last week. No. Do I think that he will move on and play better for another team? 100%. Because I think if he has weapons around him, he can be talented, but he needs help, and they have zero help. And this Giants page I'm on with Facebook, you idiots who think that it's all Daniel Jones' fault, you're ignorant. The offensive line is terrible. You're starting a rookie left tackle who is way over his head. Is he better than Eric Flowers? Sure. Am I better than Eric Flowers at left tackle? Probably. So that's not saying much. Andrew Thomas is way over his head, should have been starting at right tackle, whatever. You have a center who never played center before starting. That's bad. Pathetic. The defense is all right. They're playing better, but they can't stay healthy. They go out today, they sign a corner, Alfred Morris, and another backup quarterback. Like, what are you doing? Like, you need help at wide receiver. You have, Golden Tate, Sterling Shepard's hurt again. Evan Ingram doesn't finish routes for whatever reason, and I'm a big Evan Ingram guy, but it's true. Deion Lewis is not a starting running back. Devontae Freeman came in on Wednesday, and you play him 15 snaps? Come on. And I'm telling you, they are going to finish 0-16. Do you know who they play next week, guys? No, I'll tell you who. The Rams. Do you know what Aaron Darnold is going to do to this Giants offensive line?
Nom nom.
Yeah, career day.
It's scary. He will literally, I think he might murder Daniel Jones. Somebody might want to put Daniel Jones on a milk carton, because if I was him, I'd run. I'd hide because Aaron Donald's going to murder you. He is going to literally, they could triple team him with this offensive line. Dallas has one of the best offensive lines in the NFL, and what did he do to them?
Oh, he tore through them.
Tore through them. Yeah. Two of them. Multiple times. That's what's coming Daniel Jones' way. I pray for you, young man, because it's scary.
I just want to say currently the point spread on that game is the Rams by 12.
And it's only going to get bigger.
Yeah, it's only going to get bigger by the weekend. That could be 2 touchdowns.
I mean, it should be already, if not. They're playing in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Yikes.
So, not a good one for you, Coach, for next week.
It's going to be another long Sunday.
It definitely will be. Pad?
I'm just going to say happy retirement and best wishes to Seahawks wide receiver Jermaine Kearse. He posted to Instagram today, quote, "It's never really easy writing posts like this. I'm not a big announcement type of guy, LOL. Trying to find all the right words to say to sum up my experience over the past decade isn't an easy feat, so I'm going to try and keep this short and sweet, LOL." So you can go to his page and read the full thing, but I just want to say, hey, I'm not a Seahawks fan, but I did enjoy watching your play on the field. Congratulations to you, sir, and best of luck in your post-career life.
Yeah, Kearse was a very respectable wide receiver.
Absolutely.
Yeah, good for him.
Congratulations on the retirement.
Also, since it's just come in, congratulations to Patrick Mahomes and his fiancée.
Yes.
They are expecting.
Yeah, good for them.
Patrick Mahomes, unlike the rest of the planet, having a great 2020.
Winning all over the fucking place.
Yeah.
Just all over us.
2020 for a lot of people, real bad. 2020 for Patrick Mahomes,
just
real damn good.
Real winning. Just winner.
He's doing some winning, and so are those Buffalo Bills.
Ooh.
But
that was ugly.
They're not doing it pretty. I have to address this because people were hitting me up because obviously, I'm a member of Bills Mafia. And what did I think of the game, and are they really contenders? Look, I love the fact that Josh Allen could lead them down the field and put a game-winning drive together late in the fourth quarter. I do.
Sure.
But the fact that it was that late and we were already up big going in to the start of the third quarter.
Again.
It was like deja vu when you had the Rams on the ropes 21-3 at halftime. Okay, if you're up that big, and then they jumped out to, I believe it was almost at 28 at that stage. So I'm going to get too worked. I'm going to lose my spot here. The fact that they take their foot off the gas in the third quarter religiously is a scary situation.
Yeah, no, the Buffalo scored the first points of the third quarter and make it 28-3. The Rams then scored the next 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, thank you. So, that being said, before the Bills can be taken as a serious contender, you need to address the second half collapse because it's the second week in a row this has happened. If you even want to take it back to the Jets.
I mean, I was just going to say second week. You could take it back to the Jets.
But
they held on.
Held on, but this is the second time that they've given up a lead and had to fight their way back. And as much as Josh Allen is playing at a high level, I'm not going to say this MVP talk. I saw that in some places. I'm like, no, pump your brakes.
Sure.
This is Russell Wilson right now, then Mahomes, then Lamar Jackson, then Aaron Rodgers. And then if you want to argue, you could argue that fifth spot. You could argue it.
I would put Mr. Newton in that circle.
That's what I said. You could argue that the number 5 spot. But as of right now, Josh is playing at a high level, and you can't take that away from him at all. I mean, he's had multiple games now where he's thrown for over 300 yards, which is what we like to see as a quarterback.
Just disgusting. I mean, it's filthy the way that he's just throwing the ball around.
Yeah, like I say, Stephon Diggs, biggest offseason move in all the NFL right now.
I mean, well, he's so 2 wide receivers got traded this offseason. You know, that trade, we thought the Houston trade was going to be the biggest one.
Yeah.
Hopkins has played well, but not great. Diggs is playing great.
Yeah, and Allen would not be the success he is right now this season without him.
No.
But the Bills need to establish a run game late. And I know that Zach Moss didn't play this week, so you can put a little asterisk by it if you want for this week. But to keep the good teams from beating you and keeping them off the field, they need to establish this, because all the Rams do, this is how you beat the Rams. Have a screen on their tight end and have somebody watch Robert Woods run to the sidelines, because that's all they do. That is their offense. It's very easy to figure out. Jared Goff, I mean, sure, he's playing well, but I'm not super scared of him by any means. But Robert Woods, that's how you shut him down.
Yeah, no.
I mean, that still won't help the Giants.
No, I mean, it's not going to help them, but it'll help the other teams, though.
I think the thing with Buffalo, and I mean, I don't know, because I mean, I've watched the Jets game, so I saw the foot you let off the gas. It just comes down to play calling when it comes to that, and it's similar to Atlanta. You know, when you almost let your foot off the gas too much and you get away from what's being successful because you think, okay, we have a 21-3 lead right now. We don't need to do anything, you know, other than dominate the rest of the game. But you let your foot off the gas because you change play calling just a little bit. You know, I mean, so instead of running maybe a more of aggressive play, you might opt to, you know, maybe run again, you know, or maybe run a screen pass instead of running downfield. Yeah. So I think, to me, what the Bills need to do is accept the fact, all right, we're up 23-1. Let's keep our foot on the goddamn gas, and let's just keep doing what's been successful. And if that's Diggs running a 15-yard in route or a post or a flag, keep running those routes. Don't stop running them just because you're up.
No, I'll give you that. But,
lay the hammer.
But I'd like to see them be able to sustain some time on the field, however you're going to do it. I mean, I guess that's kind of the takeaway I got.
Sure. I mean, and I know some people, not you, have to temper their fucking expectations with this team, because I talked to somebody today who, not a Bills fan, said, but just trying to rib me a little bit as a Patriot fan. Oh yeah, those Bills look good on Sunday, and I looked him dead in the eye and I go, "Did you watch the same fucking game I did?" "Oh, they won the game, didn't they? Good Rams team." I go, "Yeah, they won the game, but if not for a pass interference call, they would have lost that fucking game, because let's not forget, they gave up 28 or 29 points unanswered. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And if it wasn't for that defensive pass interference call that put them right in the doorstep to get that go-ahead score, they wouldn't have won that game."
I'll be the first one to say fact. I heard the same thing from other Bills fans, like, "Oh yeah, you know, we're like Super Bowl bound." I'm like, pump the brakes.
Also, this happens every year when the Bills start hot.
Yeah, which I understand. Bills Mafia, we are excited, we're winning, and I get it. But the Patriots are still, Pat, 2-1.
Mm-hmm.
They're right behind us. It's not like they're 0-3. It's not like they're the Jets. Hell hasn't frozen over yet.
No, and they're 2-1, and their one loss is within, what, like 3 points?
5 points.
5 points to arguably one of the best teams in the NFC West, or in the NFC. So
everybody kind of needs to step back
on the road, nonetheless.
Enjoy the win for what it was.
Yeah.
And I thought that pass interference call was a makeup call for that egregious interception. Egregious interception call, which the booth screwed up on the replay, because there's no way that was an interception. I'm sorry. But when the wide receiver comes down and hands the ball off to the referee, you can't say that it's an interception. All right, I'm just going to put that out there.
I mean, the tie goes to the receiver in years and years of calling plays. Like, it's always been like, if it's a jump ball and the wide receiver even has a finger on the ball, it's going to the wide receiver.
Yeah, so how they called that is beyond me, but they got the makeup call, and that's all it was. I'll be the first one. I'll say allegedly, but
that shit happens.
But it does happen.
Deal with it.
But the Bills took advantage of it. They're 3-0. They got Vegas this week. I'm happy going into it. Am I calling my shot? No. But if you want to hear us call some more shots, definitely stay tuned for Locks and Leaps.
I also real quick want to touch on Doug Peterson punting on fourth down with about less than a minute left to go in a game.
Yeah,
in overtime. The play was they were lining up for a 49-yard field goal. There was a false start, got bumped back 5 yards. Doug Peterson, with under a minute left to go, I think it was like 43 seconds, opted to punt and go for the tie.
Well, all you need to know about
Shame on you, young man.
all you need to know about the Eagles is that the Chiefs' offensive line has as many receiving touchdowns as the Eagles do.
Yeah, I mean, just go for it. What do you have to lose? It's overtime. At worst, what's going to happen? You're going to throw a Hail Mary up, or you're going to go for it. And, I mean, it's not like the Bengals still had to advance the ball to kick with no timeouts.
Yeah.
You know, like, come on. That's just gutless.
So many storylines heading out of week 3, so definitely hit us up on that hashtag ODPH. What was your takeaways from week 3 in the NFL? We definitely want to know. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Greetings, henchmen and loyal subjects. I am Evan the Great.
Now I'm JVD. We're your hosts of the Fictional Battle Podcast, Crossover Collision, brought to you by the Villains Demand.
If you love hearing in-depth breakdowns of your favorite characters and what they are capable of doing while fighting in random battlegrounds against other fan favorites, then this is the podcast for you.
New episodes drop every Friday wherever you listen to your favorite podcast or over on thevillansdemand.com.
This is Rich, the host of the Three Fat Nerds podcast and co-host of the Horror Zone 607 podcast, and you are listening to our hashtag 607 podcast brothers, the Ocho Duro Parlay Hour. Now kick it back over to Ken Moneybags and the crew.
Coming back for another segment on this edition of the ODPH podcast, and we have to talk some UFC 253. If you joined us in on the chat on Twitch, on twitch.tv/607podcast, you heard the live reaction to an amazing night of fights, because once we got to the main card, it started a little slow. But then the 3 lead-in fights, amazing as we jump in. So, Pad, why don't we do some recap?
Sure. So, first one is kind of, I guess, the co-main event, whatever you want to call it. The third fight.
In our panel's eyes, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was in the flyweight division where Brandon Royval defeated Kai Kara France with a guillotine choke submission. I want to know, Brandon Royval must be so new to this, he doesn't even have a page on Wikipedia yet.
Whatever. He's my new favorite fighter. That's
Yeah.
for goddamn sure.
Yes, he has been officially endorsed by 607 Podcasts.
I mean, this dude came out with energy. We were snooze button. We were getting ready to fall asleep. We were going to call a night. I mean, I felt bad. We were having a Rich, wake up. You know, I mean, it was a long night for those early fights.
Yeah.
Should note that fight did win Fight of the Night bonus.
Damn right it did. And Royval came out. I mean, my God, the performance.
The pace he was going at was so high level, and especially for flyweights, too,
Sure.
which we always kind of kid about. Oh, well, you know, all they can do is just, you know, hop around and, you know, just, you know, have no power behind their punches. Royval came out and was answering Kara France punch for punch,
Blow by blow.
blow by blow. Like, they were going back and forth.
Staying in the pocket, feet on feet. It was violent.
Yeah, it was absolutely horrifically violent, which was amazing for us to watch as fans.
We needed it.
I know we're twisted. Because the first 2 fights that on the main card, I don't even want to address because they were snooze fests.
I mean, it was the first fight of the main card. There was not a punch thrown for like the first 2.5 minutes.
Right. It was
Ugh.
It was absolutely awful. Like I say, I don't even want to address it because it was that bad. Mm-hmm. And for all the nonsense that they gave so much hype about it, it's like, no, this wasn't worth it. And the women's bantamweight match was good, but almost one-sided though too.
Sure.
I mean, so that's why I said.
It did nothing for me. But then Royval came out. And
Yeah, and so when the flyweights came out, especially for not getting a high-profile hype about this, and especially
Sure.
that division, I mean, ever since Figueiredo has won, it's been given some little acknowledgement, but honestly, ever since DJ left, it hasn't been the same. But Royval made some statements. In fact, he got knocked down and threw the Judas effect back elbow.
Yo, that was nuts. On his knees, falling, looking like the fight was about to be finished, gathers himself and just throws that back elbow out of nowhere, which catches France right on the butt of the chin.
Yeah.
Say a move I've only ever seen work in the video games.
Yeah, we were all like, "Oh, he's done," and then the elbow, yo, he's done. You know, we lost our shit, and then they come back out in the second round, still banging.
Still banging, and then once France gave up his neck, Royval took full advantage of it.
He sunk that thing. We knew it immediately. We were like, he's in, and then tap.
And then why is that noteworthy to coach? The first a prediction you made on.
Oh yeah. Oh, I got one right. I mean, that was nice.
The streak is over.
The streak is over.
Thank God. That was a long streak. Too long. But I mean, I just Royval came out with such energy and such fire that it was refreshing to see on a night where the card was moving a little bit slower. You've got these two big title fights coming up that you're amped up for. And you're looking for a little bit of energy after slower fights, and that's exactly what Royval did. And hats off to him. What a great fight. The announcers talked about how he had came from living in a 1-bedroom or 2-bedroom apartment with 4 kids, siblings or whatever, and doesn't want to go back there. And son, you ain't going back because you earned your spot.
No, he definitely jumped up in the rankings. He's currently number 7 in the flyweight division.
Oh, good for him.
So we could definitely see a lot of movement because honestly, that top 5 is wide open in my opinion.
So that division's got nothing going on.
No, it doesn't. And Figueiredo needs a challenge. And I tell you what, after seeing that performance from Royval, I'm saying if he wants to jump the line, I would actually be okay with it because that was that good of a performance.
Sure.
That's why we're talking about it because it wasn't the co-main event.
No.
But let us jump into that.
Yeah, so that was in the light heavyweight division for the vacant light heavyweight championship where Jan Blachowicz defeated Dominic Reyes via TKO.
This is called karma.
Yes. Break it down, Coach.
I mean, Reyes talked and chirped and chirped. The people's champ. I beat John. Whatever. I had all that. Talked all that jazz, and a lot of people took Blachowicz, a little bit as the underdog. And he came out and he just put a whooping on Reyes' rib cage, and then eventually caught him with a little 1-2, broke the nose, and then caught him with a little bit of a feint punch that kind of just slipped up Reyes. Down he went and finished him. And, I mean, Blachowicz, your new champ. The only thing I'm going to say about that is leave John alone.
Yeah.
Leave John alone. You don't need
You don't want that smoke.
You don't need to bring his name into this. You won your championship. Celebrate yourself. Don't bring John's name into it because all it's going to do is, oh, shit, yeah, you didn't beat John. You're really not the champ. That's the way that I took it.
Well,
personally.
Okay, Pat, any thoughts on this?
No, congratulations to Blachowicz. Good for him. But, yeah, no, don't fucking call out John. You don't want that smoke. Fighters better than you, and don't get me wrong, he is a good fighter. Obviously, he's the champion. But to me, there have been better fighters in that division than him. Have all tried and none have succeeded. I have not seen anything out of him that would lend me to believe. And in Christ, I've heard it before from common man Vince Ciotoli. For some of the fighters that have stepped up to fight John, that this might be the one. He's got the stuff to beat John, and none of them have done it. I think if he steps up to fight John will knock his ass out.
I just want to touch upon this. I'm showing the panel right now the UFC rankings.
Sure.
Okay.
And look at the entire top 11 fighters all shifted up one place after this fight.
Okay.
So I understand that because Blachowicz was down there, but the entire division shifted after this fight.
Sure.
Which just goes to show the gravity of John Jones leaving. Now we have a new king of the 205s. And Blachowicz, for all the credit that he was not getting for this fight, we have to remember, after he won and was all set to fight John, it was kind of a forgotten thought.
Sure.
Because he did earn his title shot against John Jones. And I think that that's the only reason he mentioned it after the fight, because I think that he went into this fight saying, everybody's talking about Dominic Reyes.
Sure.
Because all Reyes has been saying is, hey, you almost beat John Jones? Hey, you almost beat John Jones? I beat John Jones. I beat him. When every media outlet was looking at that and completely overlooks a fighter, that's enough to set him off and get him on a focused direction.
Sure.
And for Blachowicz, he definitely came out, established the pace of the fight. And for Reyes, who I think he learned to pace himself from the John fight, but he took the wrong time to apply it.
Yeah.
Completely.
Yeah. I think Blachowicz would have been better to just, kind of play off the, John ran because he's scared. John left because he's scared. He doesn't want to fight me because, hey, you never know.
But I think that he's too, I don't want to say classy, but I think that he's so respectful of John
Sure.
that I think Blachowicz wanted to just say, John, we should fight. Like that's the way I took it.
Yeah, see,
Sure, and now that you say that I think would come off even better as, hey, John, we never got a chance to fight. if I want to be championship of this division, I want to test myself against the best, and you're one of the best of all time.
He should have said something like that, but he's got to make himself get over because let's face it, that's how
Yeah.
you get over in the UFC.
And I get it, but at the same time, it's like, maybe that's a post-fight press conference wording, to say.
Sure.
Like, in the moment, I would have probably just celebrated me. I did this. I earned this. I kicked his ass. I'm a lot of I statements.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily, when we watched it afterwards, I said, don't call out John.
No,
don't do it. Don't just celebrate your win. You obviously, you put on a hell of a performance against, a very, a guy who took John to his limits.
Yeah.
In Reyes. And, you earned it. And, obviously Reyes, for as much chirping as he didn't back up his shit, and that's what happens. Talk shit, get hit.
Yeah.
And that's, we're going to talk about that in the next fight too. But, Blachowicz took it to him in every facet of this fight, and Reyes looked overmatched.
Reyes looked completely overmatched. He looked outclassed. Blachowicz, the minute he landed those leg kicks to the body, and that mark, it looked like his skin was literally peeled off.
Yeah, it was red.
Yeah, it was blood red. And to see that he absolutely came in there, took it to Reyes. Reyes had no clue. And I think this is something that we also have to talk about Reyes as well. He was part of that class of fighters that was flying up the division, the Johnny Walkers, the Rankics, that these guys were supposed to be the next wave of the 205 division.
Sure.
And it's almost like when you buy into your own hype a little bit, this is where they kind of came in because everybody started focusing on these are the next big three to come up there.
Well, think about the attributes of Reyes. Big, tall, lengthy, the things that made John elite, in that division because, let's not forget at 205 prior to, probably Machida was probably the biggest at 6'3", 6'4".
I want to say yes.
Yeah, before that it was all, Liddell 6 foot, Tito Ortiz 5'9", it was all shorter guys that were just bigger because of just having muscles, and then all of a sudden, in comes John at this 6'6", 6'7", 205 with arms that could reach, the other side of a room, and you're like, oh my god, what, so Reyes had all those attributes, and Blachowicz does too because he's a big dude too.
Yeah.
He's a big 205.
Yeah.
So to me, my biggest takeaway from this is the Blachowicz. Just move on.
Yep.
John's gone. It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
I don't want John to come back to 205 right now. Let him focus on heavyweight. That's what he wants to do. Let that happen. Don't call him out. Don't bring him back because it's just going to tarnish, I think, the light heavyweight division by having him say, I'm going to vanquish the title, now come back and get it. I just don't want to see it. And to Reyes, you got to back up your shit. I think you need to go back, reevaluate your camp. You need to work on your stand-up game a little bit. I think you need to work on your pacing. And I think that you can't talk shit about John backpedaling because that's all you did all fight.
Yeah.
And, I know I'm not some elite fighter or anything. I'm just saying that's what I saw.
No, it's the eye test.
Yeah.
Pat, any final thoughts on this one?
No, Reyes, it's like the saying goes, if you're going to talk shit, you better have the moxie to back it up.
I fully agree. I think Reyes tried talking himself into getting a match and getting some hype, and obviously he did earn his title shot today.
Yeah, let's not discredit that.
Yeah.
Mr. Reyes, if you are out there listening, which I know some UFC people are,
Yes, it's
fans
true.
of the show, you earned your title shot, but now you have to re-earn another one.
And I think he's going to do that at some point. Like the next fight I would make for him is actually him versus Rakic. I think I would do that because I know that eventually I have at least a makeup date has not been announced to my knowledge. Hit me up on hashtag ODPH if it has. Thiago Santos and Glover Teixeira.
Okay.
The winner of that is going to get Blachowicz, and that's the fight to make.
Right.
That is and I have no issue.
Because
with that.
I know Silva was right there on the cusp minus the leg injury. Waiting to return from his leg injury to get a shot at John. So it's that he's queued up.
Yeah, Santos is ready to rock, and obviously, if he gets the fight against Teixeira, he wins. You have to make that fight. If Glover wins, he's on that quiet win streak that just shows. You could say it shows how weak the light heavyweight division is.
Yeah.
Or he's found the fountain of youth. One of the two.
Blachowicz 38. And plus Glover's obviously a fan favorite, so it's like, all right, he might not be a top 5 guy, but he beats somebody in number 2 spot. You could very easily just make the Reyes fight Rankich, and then have Glover jump him.
Well, we all know the rankings don't mean shit.
Well, exactly.
yeah,
But
yeah.
I mean, that's a big jump from going from outside the top 5 into a title fight is a big jump. But Glover's a fan favorite and would put butts in the seats.
Well, Teixeira is now number 3 because
okay.
because of all the shifting around. So
there it is. Okay.
So that being said, no, I mean that's the fight you make. So
Yeah.
I have no issue with that. I'm excited to see that fight actually because both of those guys are very exciting fighters, and to see who Blachowicz can really establish a run this stage is anybody's guess too. But the light heavyweight division has got a bit of a shakeup, so it's a lot of uncertainty. But going to the main event, I think we're entering an era. I'm a full believer. I was wrong on my pick. I will own it, and we'll dissect it. So your main event for the middleweight title, champion Israel Adesanya versus undefeated Paulo Costa. Pad?
Yeah, Israel Adesanya ended up defending his belt and defeating Paulo Costa with a second round knockout.
Coach?
What a weird performance out of Costa.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody talked about the fact that he rushes, tempo, puts pressure on you, backs you up against the cage, and he just had a weird-ass fight. I mean, taunting Adesanya, putting his hands behind his back, letting Adesanya dictate pace and everything. And, I mean, Adesanya just kept landing, those leg kicks that we've seen obviously add up over a fight. And, Costa's leg was taking a thrashing to the point where you could visibly see a little bit of a limp.
Yeah.
And, like I said, the last fight, the same with this fight, talk shit, get hit. Costa earned every... Adesanya absolutely dissected him. And like I said in our preview, he painted a picture. I mean, Adesanya is a fucking artist when doing these. I mean, he dissected Costa. He read everything. Every kick that Costa landed that people were, no, it was blocked or wasn't full on. Every punch that Costa landed was avoided or blocked. So, I mean, Adesanya is, to me, pound for pound, the best fighter in the game right now. I don't care whoever else you want to put up there. He had everything, every aspect. He blocked everything. Costa had no business being in the octagon against him, and he got humped.
Yeah.
Which is awesome.
Yeah, you can see that on the fight replay if you watch the fight.
I mean, and the fact that Costa didn't know, which I saw immediately while we watched it, and noted that, oh my God, he just humped him. That's even better, the fact that Costa didn't find out till 2 days later.
Pad, your thoughts?
I think we got to give Adesanya his due because the stat came out after the fight was all said and done. For his combat sports career, kickboxing, Adesanya is 75-6. MMA, he is 20-0. Boxing, he's 5-1. So total combat sports career, he's 107. The man just wins.
The one takeaway I have from this is we are now entering the era of Adesanya. And that is not a bad thing if he shows up in fights like he did against Costa. Israel Adesanya is honestly Anderson Silva 2.0 in my opinion. They fight very similar. But this fight, though, shows where the difference happens between him and Anderson. Because I have seen Anderson Silva fight many times, and he is a martial artist at every single sense of the word.
Mm-hmm.
But to see him flip that killer instinct switch on, you never saw that many times out of Anderson Silva.
No.
I only want to say maybe once, twice. He used to always rely on his skill unless he was super motivated. I think the only times I can remember is Chael Sonnen Fight 2.
Yeah.
And honestly, after that, he's always kind of been so-so. Even though you take a look at the fights he had with Damian Maia, and he was screwing around, taunting. That wasn't really a dominant thing when you're that skilled and you're that motivated to earn your belt. Adesanya came back from a very safe performance against Yoel Romero. He knew Costa was undefeated. He immediately started talking trash. Costa was retaliating with a lot of trash talk. In fact, this team was, I think, at some points crossing a line completely. But
Adesanya might have
he made a gesture.
Dropped some things on their foreheads,
yes,
to say the least.
Yeah, he definitely let him know what was up after the fight. He was not shy about it. That's the one downside of going to Fight Island, so to speak, with no fans in attendance, because you hear everything, and he had a lot to say. But
I mean, when you're sitting here pre-fight and, the buffer's doing the introductions and you can see, while Costa's getting his introduction, Costa's corner guy, doing the little dance, you're like,
And
my guy,
yeah.
what are you doing?
And especially, too, with Adesanya, he's known for coming down and doing like a choreographed dance to the ring. Because he's very big. He said this publicly, too. He's very big into like dance culture.
Sure.
So he came out fully focused.
No dance.
No dance. It was almost
Beeline.
Kamaru Usman entering the cage level focus.
Just beeline right to the octagon.
Yeah, which, I mean, Usman usually does. He's dancing, smiling, and then when he steps in the cage, he flicks that switch on, and somebody's going to get hurt. Adesanya had that look the entire walkway down. Like, he looked so focused, and he was like, I'm going to make a statement. And I admit, I eat my words, because I thought Costa, when I've seen him fight before, has pressured him, ran it right at him. Adesanya set that pace, and Costa had no response for it.
Nothing.
No. And
Well, I mean, his response were taunts.
yeah.
We're egging on Adesanya, which there didn't need to be any more egg.
No, you had nothing.
It was already scrambled, my guy.
Yeah.
You needed to add some cheese to this because he knew everything, like you were saying during the fight. Adesanya saw everything coming.
Yeah, he was sitting there waiting on it. And it was so scary to see because Costa had nothing. Costa was trying to throw him off his game, but Adesanya was so focused.
Dude was like, I mean, you want to put a comparison to it? He was like Neo.
Yeah, he was
He
Matrix.
just fucking read the Matrix. Like everything. I mean, he was kicking, and Adesanya was like, what? Boom. You know?
Yeah.
It was nuts. It was perfection.
Yeah, it was absolutely ridiculous how perfect it was.
He finished him in the second round because he wanted to.
Yeah, he let him survive.
Let's be real.
He could have finished him in that first, but when he busted him open,
Yeah.
I mean, he threw him shots on the ear, and you saw Costa just had just the stank leg, and he was falling over.
The fake leg kick to the high kick,
Yeah.
which is what ultimately
Brilliant.
busted him open. Dude,
Yeah.
it's nuts. It's literally I was watching this fight like. Yeah, I mean, wanting Adesanya to put a hurting on him just because, obviously, I mean, I picked Adesanya to win, but then when Costa started the bullshit, I was like, this dude deserves his comeuppance right now.
Yeah, he definitely needed
And he
it.
had everything coming to him.
I'm surprised he actually didn't try using the cup therapy on his leg as an excuse. Like, to be honest, because just the amount of just when you talk that much trash and you don't go in there perform.
Right, you
And
put up a dud.
And you put up a dud, and honestly, he looked mentally broken mid first round. Mm-hmm. That's when he started taunting because he's like, "What else am I going to do?" He had nothing, and for him being undefeated at the time, you have to work your way back up the card because I don't see this being you can fight one more fight and get a title shot again.
Hell no.
I would say he's going to fight. His next fight arguably could be a Darren Till. If Darren, I can't remember if he's already booked or not. He's going to be fighting somebody in the lower half of the top 10. He's not going to get a top-notch opponent. And honestly, after a performance, I wouldn't give him one. I
wouldn't either.
If I'm Dana, I'm like, no, you got to get some fights back up.
Dude, the dude got humped in the octagon.
Yeah.
You can't come back from that in the eyes of the fans because ultimately, I mean, that's the one thing that the UFC does is they're not going to book you if fans aren't going to be like, oh, there's a fight here.
Yeah,
I mean, you can talk all the shit in the world, but if you're not going to be able to back it up with a performance, they're not going to put you in there.
Yeah, he's going to definitely fight somebody in the lower top 10.
Yeah.
Like I say, I wouldn't doubt him against Kelvin Gastelum. I wouldn't mind that fight, to be honest with you. But I would see, like, depending on what Till is doing, because it always gets kind of rumored back and forth, and I'm probably missing the latest update with him because he's also like, with Masvidal. He always throws his name out to everybody.
Yeah, he's always getting tagged in different posts.
Yeah. So that being said, like, I can see him fighting somebody else down in the lower half of the card. But for Adesanya, I thought he played it very smart, too, because after the fight, he kept it very business after he got done trash-talking Costa. And he said Jared Connolly is the next fight if he beats Robert Whittaker.
Which is fantastic.
And you know what? I am fully on board with that. And if Whittaker wins, you make that Adesanya-Whittaker match, too.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So the middleweight division is locked and loaded. But for whoever's fighting in the future, the era of Adesanya is upon you. What else do you have?
Mm-hmm.
So that being said, hit us up on that hashtag ODPH. What was your thoughts about UFC 253, the return to Fight Island? Couple great fights in the latter half of the main card. We definitely need to have that discussion. So we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
Do not adjust your dial, or your phone, your watch, or whatever the heck you're using to listen to the awesome podcast you're currently listening to. I am the Duke of Nerds, Tyler Mack. And I am here to tell you that being a nerd can be a bit overwhelming, especially after 30. Life moves pretty fast in our nerd culture, and if you don't take the time to notice things, you miss out. That's why I'm here. As your Duke of Nerds, I am charged with educating, enlightening, and entertaining you on all things nerdy. I do it by running the 30 to Nerdy podcast. 30 to Nerdy is a Badcast Company production and currently playing wherever you cast your pod. Follow along each episode using the hashtag 30andNerdyPod. And check out what all is going on at 30andNerdyPodcast.com. Whether it's DC, Marvel, comics, or video games, I have got you covered. So tune in now. Cheers to you, nerds.
It's a heartbreak, soul-shaped radio attack. Taking 4 steps forward, no steps back.
Hey, this is Vince the Common Man Toy, local MMA fighter, telling you to keep on listening to the ODPH, the 607's up-and-coming newest podcast.
We knew right where we'd be, floating on the airwaves, you see. It's a heartbreak, soul-shaped radio attack. Taking 4 steps forward and no steps back. We knew right where we'd be.
Coming back for another segment on this edition of the ODPH podcast, and we are now at the finals of the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
The season-ending series is now finally upon us, and Coach was right in his prediction. His new favorite team behind the Knicks,
Jesus.
with his favorite players,
That's right. They are my favorite players.
are now stepping up to face the Lakers. So why don't you give us your official NBA Finals preview?
Well, I mean, it is the Lakers versus the Miami Heat.
Yep.
The Heat 1-6, like I said. Thank you.
Yeah, no, you guessed
called
it.
it.
I
Yep.
called it, yep. And then the Lakers won in 5, which I also said they were going to do. So, I mean, am I a soothsayer? I don't know. You tell me. I'm very excited for this series. There's a ton of storylines here. Obviously, the underlying story, the one that's been carrying so much weight, Kobe Bryant, in the memory of the Lakers and the Laker franchise and team. So that's always going to be there in the forefront. Then, you have the other storyline, LeBron versus the old team, his old coach in the Miami Heat, the team that he won, championships with, the team that, brought the big three together that kind of helped cultivate this era of superstar teams. Obviously, now paired with Anthony Davis, and then on the flip side of it, you have this underdog, hard scrapping, tough Miami Heat team led by, just absolute dynamic playmaking leader in Jimmy Butler, with another all-star, but not to the same level of an Anthony Davis as Bam Adebayo. And then, my fucking favorite player, Tyler Hero, baby.
Yeah.
The man that has never seen a shot that he don't like, which is fantastic. So it's going to be a really great series. There's a ton of matchups. I think this is the most exciting series. Obviously, the Lakers Celtics would have written itself, but this is, I think, the series that will yield the best results. I think that for everybody who's counting the Heat, as true underdogs and has no business being in this, you are going to be surprised. I don't think the Heat will ultimately win this series, unfortunately. I think the Lakers will win in 6. I think the Heat will steal an early game, maybe game 1 or game 2, put the Lakers on their heels a little bit, and maybe Lakers are going to win 3 straight. The Heat will win, that game 5, come back games, unfortunately losing game 6. But I definitely like this series. I like the matchups. You're going to see Jimmy Butler guard. You're going to see Jimmy Butler cover LeBron a lot, which is fantastic because we don't see that very often as far as superstar guys covering, upper echelon players. And you're going to see Anthony Davis, to me, is the X factor because the stat of when this man scores 30 points, the Lakers are like 17-0.
Yeah, it's not ridiculous.
Yeah.
Stupid.
Yeah.
So you're going to see a lot of emphasis put on him to get going. And, LeBron's going to be LeBron. I mean, he's going to want to, especially with the narrative being, with the Kobe stuff, plus the fact that he's playing his own team, he's going to want the ball in his hands. He's going to want to be the one that wins the MVP because of those things. So you're going to really see, I think, a killer instinct out of him. and I think that's going to be, the ultimate thing that leads the Lakers to the victory here.
Pad?
According to Caesars out of Las Vegas, the current odds entering to Game 1, which takes place tomorrow, September 30th, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, the Lakers are currently favored by minus 440. So for what that's worth, Miami absolutely deserves to be here. They've shown time and time again how resilient they are and just gutsy, and they don't back down from anything. That being said, I agree wholeheartedly with Coach. I think it's going to be the Lakers in 6. I can definitely see the Heat stealing Game 1. The Lakers, let's face it, they finished off their Western Conference Finals a little bit ago. The Heat's still been going, so they're coming off being hot and playing pretty consistently. Lakers had some time off, so I can easily see that happening. Catch them slipping in Game 1 and get the win. I think the thing that should be mentioned, and I thought was a really awesome stat I saw the other day, was Pat Riley has reached the finals in 6 straight decades, which is insane.
That's a wild stat.
So he reached it in the 1970s as a player for the Lakers. He reached it in the 80s and 90s as a coach for both the Lakers and the Knicks. Reached it in the 2000s as the president and head coach of the Miami Heat, and then in the 2010s and 2020s as the president of the Miami Heat. That is insane.
Well, this is also the other stat along with that is there hasn't been an NBA Finals in the last 10 years without Andre Iguodala or a teammate of Andre Iguodala, and LeBron the same.
Yeah.
So how crazy is that?
It is also the 34th or 35th, I forget the exact number, NBA Finals with a player that it was a teammate of Shaq.
Well, also, another one. Yeah, since 1984.
84. Since 1984, there has been a player in the NBA Finals that's been a teammate of Shaq.
That's a wild stat.
Oh, it's bonkers.
And it's, that's just a testament to A, to Shaq, and B, just the longevity of his career.
Yeah, I mean, for a player to play that long and at a consistent level, to have that kind of reach, is just astounding.
Now, granted, got everybody, if you're listening, thinking that we think Shaq was drafted in 84. No. He was drafted in the 93, 92-ish time frame, 91, in that time range, but his teammates with Orlando and the Lakers have been playing since then, so he's got some reach.
Yeah, so to extend that. But talking about this finals, though, I have to agree with the rest of the panel. This is Lakers in 6.
Mm-hmm.
I think that Tyler Hero and Jimmy Butler have been the 1-2 punch that has been sorely missing from
Tyler Hero off the bench too, baby.
I know, and that's the craziest thing about this.
Yeah.
This Miami team literally flew under the radar.
Yep.
I mean, I honestly did not see them beating the Pacers. I mean, I knew, the Pacers were hurt.
Yeah.
But I thought the Pacers were going to be able to pull that out. And then the Milwaukee series, I was like, Giannis, baby. But
I mean, they're looking like the Clippers. I mean, honestly, Milwaukee and the Clippers have a lot going on for them because it's a lot of hype and they just haven't delivered.
Yeah, and then once they got to the Eastern Conference Finals against Celtics, that's when I bought in. That's when I was like, this team's legit.
See, for me, I thought Miami could hang with them. I'm just surprised at how they imposed their will. And for Boston, because Boston plays so well as a team.
Sure.
That Tyler Hero just emerged as a superstar.
And put Paul Pierce in his place.
Yes, he did. Which the kid's got swag for days.
The kid's got some moxie.
Yeah. Which I think Miami could definitely use.
Oh, hell yeah. That's that Miami swagger, man.
Yeah.
I mean, I think him and Jimmy Butler, just the not only just the general leadership and just general that Jimmy Butler is, almost like for us, like a Mark Messier, style of, not dictatorship, but just general focus, and then Tyler Hero comes in and he starts doing the swaggy P, and he gets going, he gets hot, and then all of a sudden the team starts feeding off of, the energy of Jimmy, being like, all right, we're going to do this, this, and this, and then all of a sudden you get that fun with Tyler Hero, and you get him going, and then the team just the energy just starts picking up and rising, and then on the flip side of it, the Lakers just veterans, hard nosed, just LeBron, steering the ship, no questions asked, do what you're supposed to do. So it's a different dichotomy. It'll be very interesting to see how it plays out.
Miami will definitely be able to hang with them, but I just think there's just too many good players. Like, okay, you double LeBron, that's leaving Anthony Davis open down low. You double Anthony Davis, then you got to leave LeBron open. There's just too many good players on the Lakers for Miami to cover fully the entire time.
Yeah, I mean, Miami will definitely hang. I could see him stealing game 1. I'll be very honest.
Yeah, game one or game 2. They will win one of the first 2 games of the series.
Yeah, facts. I fully see him taking game 1. I could even see as a stretch, depending on how the shooting goes. I could see him going up 0-2.
Ooh.
I could see that. But I ultimately think the Lakers bounce back because you have the veteran leadership of LeBron, and he has been here before. He knows how to close out series.
And Rondo,
which, like I say, when you have that veteran leadership in playoffs, it's hard to describe, but it adds so much of a different factor in that for Anthony Davis, who this is the first time he's even gotten close to the finals, it's going to be a whole new world to him. But he has a great mentor in LeBron about how to handle the pressure of this. Because now that we're at the finals and you can see the light at the end of the tunnel, getting there and getting the chip is a whole new ball game because Miami is playing with house money.
Pretty much.
Nobody is expecting them to win.
No, except people in maybe Miami.
No, because their fans don't go to games anyway. So
or they leave early.
Yeah, they leave early. So
probably the only Miami fan that thinks Miami's going to win is Dwayne Wade.
Bingo.
And DJ Khaled.
And probably, and Alonzo Mourning.
Yeah.
Yeah, but even DJ Khaled's probably rooting for Lakers, too.
Yeah. So, like I say, their fan base is very few and far between. Yeah, I said it. I don't usually rip on it, but I'm sorry. When you had your team fighting for their playoff spots and everybody or fighting in the finals, and your fans leave before the end of the game because they threw in the towel, and I remember seeing those press clippings and all the announcements after, it was a really great season, and everybody left before Ray Allen did his thing.
Yep.
I'm sorry. You don't deserve to win. You jumped off the bandwagon that everybody was riding when LeBron was in town. I'm sorry. Maybe I'm having my Coach Duffy moment here because...
I think you're just bitter from the 90s.
I am. Because you know what? Jeff Van Gundy didn't wrestle Alonzo Mourning for nothing.
That's true, but this isn't that same. This isn't the same era. This isn't that same. If the Knicks and Heat were still bitter-ass rivals, I'd be with you. I'd be the first one saying, no. Tyler Hero, you're a goon, you're kind of a tool, and Jimmy Butler, you were overrated in Miami, you were overrated in Philly. That's what I would be saying. Yeah. But this is a new era. This is the Knicks are terrible, and Miami doesn't even, we're not even worried about Miami because we can't even get out of our own way. So Miami, we're not even scraps on the shoe. So that's why I'm like, you know what, Miami, you're okay.
But see, this is where the difference is because as a Bills fan, I don't like Miami.
Well, that's different. I mean, I don't have to worry about. Yeah,
this is the cherry on my hatred sundae. So so for me, I don't care. I still forget. I never forget the 90s.
See, it would have been for me. It's still Boston.
Yeah,
like if Boston would have made this, it would have been even with Jason Tatum on the team. I still Lakers all day.
It's still it's still the Lakers because of what they're bringing to the table, which is just more experience and the focus that LeBron has. Is going to match, if not be better than Jimmy Butler's, which is hard to say.
Sure.
But it's a fact.
I think the leadership alone, because, let's face it, the Lakers are veterans. This Miami team is young. They're going to be able to exploit the fact that Duncan Robinson's on the court, and that's what Boston couldn't do.
Yeah.
Because Boston, unfortunately, like we said, they are just a team.
Yeah.
And, as great as Jason Tatum was, is not ready to take over the games as much as he needed to, especially in this series when Duncan Robinson was on him.
Yeah.
The Lakers won't do that. The Lakers, Miami switches everything on screens. The minute they run a pick and roll and LeBron gets on Duncan Robinson, he's going to the rack.
Yeah.
So, and that's going to be the difference between what Boston did and what the Lakers will do.
The Lakers are absolutely going to win this. I think a lot of people had the Lakers winning to start the season. They got a very good team. They're dominant very early on, but then you factor in the death of Kobe, and it adds another level to their determination to win that they didn't honestly need. And you've seen it before in sports. Brett Favre, when his father died, put up 4 touchdowns in that Monday Night Football game. After his father died, I forget the guy's name, but there was the receiver for Baltimore when we were playing the Patriots, and he just torched the shit out of us after he had a family member die. I believe it was a brother or sister died.
Was it Steve Smith?
No, it was before Steve Smith was there. But no, he just torched the shit out of us, and I'm like, I saw this coming. Playing motivated.
No, and
they're playing motivated. They had the death of one of their most iconic players in franchise and league history die.
Not to mention friend. LeBron and Kobe were tight.
I remember that shot at the day Kobe died of LeBron coming off the plane.
Yeah. So this shit is real. And that's why part of me is like, as much as I love Jimmy Butler and Hero and that Miami team, I am rooting for the Lakers because I do want to see that magic moment. It will be tremendous. It will be. I don't want to.
There ain't gonna be a dry eye in the house.
I don't want to necessarily say it's gonna be closure, but you almost think that it will bring everything full circle, and you're gonna see. I would put it to when Jordan won that first title after his dad.
Yeah,
you're gonna see that type of level of emotion, especially from the veterans like LeBron. And Rondo, who had relationships for so long with Kobe, that it is going to be special. So, you don't want to root for them for that reason alone, just because it as much as I love Kobe and what he meant to me, it feels not forced, but it feels like you don't need that to root for this team, but it's there.
Fully agree with you on that. So, obviously, as the series kicks off tomorrow night as we are recording, it's going to be a fun series to watch. If you haven't been watching any of the NBA Finals,
it's been great. I mean, this Miami team is a fuck ton of fun to watch.
It's going to be a fun series to watch. So, definitely hit us up on the hashtag ODPH. We gave you our predictions, but we want to know yours. Who you got winning the NBA Finals this year? We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Hey, this is Brian Wolf from Fair City Fire. You are listening to ODPH, the greatest podcast in Binghamton.
Woo!
Hot lips touching, cool thighs feeling, shawty running up, her spine spinning, long day to a long night, but I'm not stopping till I get it right.
Coming back for the final segment on this edition of the ODPH podcast. Time to round those bases and take this show home. Pad, lead us off.
Postseason baseball is in full effect, ladies and gentlemen. The playoffs have started today as we record. Got some games going on. We'll save that for another time, but here's just a rundown of who is in the postseason classic, the playoffs. In the American League, you have the Tampa Bay Rays taking on the Toronto Blue Jays. You have the Cleveland Indians taking on the New York Yankees, Minnesota Twins taking on the Houston Asterisks, and the Oakland Athletics taking on the Chicago White Sox. On the flip side, in the National League, you have the LA Dodgers taking on the Milwaukee Brewers, the San Diego Padres taking on the St. Louis Cardinals, the Chicago Cubs taking on the Miami Marlins, which, fun fact, this is the first year the Miami Marlins have made the playoffs since 2003. Also, the game is in Chicago, so I'm kind of wondering, can we get Steve Bartman into that game?
Oh, jeez.
Because reasons.
Yeah.
And then you also have the Atlanta Braves taking on the Cincinnati Reds.
It's going to be some fun baseball, but it's not the Yankees. It doesn't matter. That's what we're doing. Bring home the chip.
Yes.
Let's go, baby. So I guess I'm kind of jumping in to do a little
hot tag.
Okay.
Sure.
So obviously the NHL season has come to a close with the Tampa Bay Lightning bringing home the cup and putting on a fun series, winning 4-2 in their series, and they just closed out yesterday in a shutout 2-0 for Tampa Bay, which is the Rangers South.
Pretty much.
Congratulations. As I predicted, I thought they would get there. But I honestly thought if Colorado did not have their injuries, that they would get snuck in there. But you know what? The Stars hung tough. But at the end of the day, Tampa Bay is bringing home the cup. But unfortunately, has been overshadowed, in my opinion.
Same.
That as we were recording, some Ranger news has come down that is bringing
unexpected. I mean, not to say that we didn't see it coming, but
we saw it coming. But at the same time, you didn't think it was going to happen.
Sure.
Like we're like, okay, they'd find a way to work things out. But unfortunately, it has not happened. There is news breaking that Henrik Lundqvist, my king of hockey, is having a buyout of his contract tomorrow.
Expected.
Yes, expected. So he will no longer be the goalie of the New York Rangers. So, Coach, your thoughts? I need a minute.
Yeah, I mean, this is tough. I mean, it's so long, for the Rangers, it's been Henrik and net, and obviously it was a long rise up into, his ascension to being king, I guess you can speak. I mean, it had been, a long stretch of post-Richter that, the Rangers were looking for a goaltender. They filled it with a lot of shoes. Mike Dunham, Kevin Weeks. I mean, there's a lot of guys who came in who, thought was going to be able to fill the shoes. And unfortunately, nobody could surpass Richter, for a lot of Rangers things. And then all of a sudden, Henrique, a late 7th round draft pick, all of a sudden sweeps the Rangers love affair and, had his run of bad series early on in his career, especially against the Devils. Just couldn't beat the Devils for whatever reason. Then all of a sudden conquered that, led him to a Stanley Cup run in 2014, which, was absolutely magical for me because Game 1 was the same day that, our daughter Aubrey was born. So we had her dressed in Ranger gear. Obviously, that didn't necessarily go the way that Ranger fans hoped, and unfortunately, we're never able to get back. So, it's tough to see Hank go.
Yeah.
But the writing was kind of on the wall, so to speak. In the last few years with the quote unquote direction that they were going to go. Obviously, they trademarked Stahl, yesterday, and then today, with the pending release or buyout of Henrique, and I hope honestly, that. I still think he has a run in him as far as like a backup goaltender, a veteran, on a team that might need a guy to fill in spot, next year for a cup contender. So I do hope he lands somewhere and can finally get that championship because honest to God, he deserves it. I can't think of a guy who has put more on the line for his team in the NHL, and especially at a position like goaltending that hasn't earned a cup like he did.
Pat, any thoughts?
Definitely it's gonna suck to see him go. I know he's been a stalwart and kind of like one of those constant figures you see. You go to turn on a Rangers game or you go to the Madison Square Garden to catch a game. For as many players have come in and come out and retired and whatever, gone through those locker rooms and onto that ice, he's been the one consistent for however many years. It's in the same vein as when Derek Jeter left the Yankees. It was weird and it felt like a chapter of your life ending, and it feels the same with Henrique leaving. I wish him all the best. I echo what Coach said. I hope he lands somewhere, and I hope he gets a championship because he definitely is one of those guys that top tier echelon goalie in the NHL. And absolutely deserves a championship.
This is just so surreal, but we knew it was coming. Like, that's the one thing. And to kind of put in perspective, if you're not a super big hockey fan, if you have a franchise goalie that is one of the elite players in the league, and for a good stretch of time, Henrique was that.
Correct.
To see how he literally carried the New York Rangers on his back to the playoffs numerous years.
Under the Tortorella system, it was like no goals and all defense.
Yeah.
And he was winning games by a goal.
Yeah.
It was 2-1, 1-0, and it was all him.
Yeah. To see this happen, it's bittersweet. It's surreal because Henrique literally was the Rangers. That he, like you say, we call him King Henrique. He's my king of hockey. It's for a reason.
Yeah.
15 seasons, 11 playoff appearance or 11 postseason appearances. What else can you really say? And especially that year that they made the run to the Stanley Cup, and they had to go through the Los Angeles Kings. He was running on fumes. But the amount of ice time he had for the Rangers is unprecedented. And for all the wins that he has done over those years, like I say, he has over 450 wins as a Ranger, which is like unheard of.
Yeah, it's nuts
in this day and age.
The categories that he leads now for the Rangers, and Richter was from 90 until 99 the goalie.
Yeah.
It was very few spots was Glenn. Glenn Healy was the backup for him for a long time, and he played very sparingly.
Yeah. And to think about it, too, though, Henrique had his chance to leave. They have offered, the Rangers said, okay, when they're going into the rebuilding year, they said, hey, we're going to start rebuilding. Do you want to go? We'll try getting you to a contender no matter what. He said, no, I'm here to be for the rebound. it's truly admirable of what he did because he literally put the team on his back.
I mean, he was getting paid too.
He's getting paid, but you know what? When they signed him to the 7-year, $59 million deal.
Yeah.
So when they signed him to that, I could understand that he wants to stay there and get paid, but at the same time, he didn't complain. You never heard him once get mad about when they're making the move. Because when they got Igor Shederskin coming over now, he never complained. When they got Grigorov come in and start playing, he never complained.
Nope. Even when he was, I mean, there was the before COVID, he did have a statement of, I don't feel like I'm currently a backup, but he knew his role. Yeah, he knew what he had to do.
Yeah, he knew his role, and like they say, if to see where he goes from here is anybody's guess. But for Ranger fans, this is hitting home so much because, like Pat touched upon. It's like Derek Jeter leaving the Yankees.
Sure, Ewing leaving the Knicks.
Yeah,
I mean, this is...
You think about your favorite team, and you had a franchise player that literally bled your team every year and hustled and worked and played till they couldn't physically go anymore. To see them finally end their career with that team, it's one of those moments in sports that you get attached to players and you always expect to see them.
Right.
And then when you don't, it's like...
Especially when you see him on the opposite end.
Yeah. And like I said, we saw the best of Henrique. I have been to Madison Square Garden numerous times to see him play. I'm glad I got to see him play.
Yep.
And just the energy he would come on the ice and just hear the Rangers. And he was representing New York City, too. Like, you just had that vibe with him. And just how you talk about athletes that represent the city. Derek Jeter is the prime example. He was New York baseball. But for New York hockey, and especially since the Marc Messier and Richter years, Henrique was the one who picked up the torch and ran with it. So to see it end like this, I hope he goes to a contender. I wouldn't mind if he goes to Tampa Bay. I know I will joke about it.
Real bad.
But I wouldn't care if he was the backup there and they made another run next year. That's fine.
The only thing that I think is, Ranger fans, if I can, since I've been, trying to be positive this episode, even with all that's going on with the Giants, I know it's weird. It must be because the debate's on tonight and I'm feeling all sorts of, I'm getting ready for the downer tonight.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to be positive right now. This frees up some salary cap space that the Rangers desperately need.
Yeah.
Because, let's face it, if you ever played like NHL, the video games, Henrique's salary cap is pretty much 1/3 of the cap. And that, had kind of forced and tied the Rangers' hands, for a long time as far as being able to go out and get, goal scorers and, defense and stuff. So, hopefully now with this, with a young goalie, on smaller contracts, maybe now they'll be able to pursue that, cornerstone franchise player. I saw that they're calling Buffalo about Eichel, which is nuts because neither party for Buffalo or Eichel have said that he's available.
Yeah.
So that's an interesting move. Obviously the Rangers have the number 1 pick and the number 23 or 24 pick.
Yeah, they got late. They got
late first. So they've got some pieces that they could move and some salary cap available now. So hopefully this helps the Rangers make a play and kind of resurge the rebuild. But again, to bring it back full circle, thank you, Henrique, for all that you did. You carried a Ranger franchise through most of the new millennium here, and your service and what you brought to the franchise was second to none. And I hope you have a great second half of your third of your career.
Yeah, absolutely. Long live the king. Always my king. Dare I say, I hope he gets a cup, and if he decides to take the year off and then come back as a Ranger for one final run when we finally get everybody over again, I'm all here for it. But obviously, to a stellar career as a blue shirt, stand up one time for you here. Obviously, Henrique, good luck with the future endeavors. Man, let's get refocused and talk about the locks and leaps. I'm going to need a minute, so Pat, why don't you kick us off this week?
Yeah, so looking at locks and leaps, I'm going to be looking at the Seattle Seahawks against the Miami Dolphins. Currently, Seattle is a 6.5-point favorite, and Lord knows, as bad as Miami is, I think they'll be able to cover that very handsomely. And then for my leap, I'm going to be looking at the Indianapolis Colts and Chicago Bears game. Currently, Indianapolis is favored by 2.5 points. But I think given the success and kind of the resurgence, I guess you could say, or the comeback they had again last week against Atlanta, it's going to spark Chicago to win this game. So I think the Bears are going to prove them wrong.
Okay, Coach.
Yeah, so my lock is, well, I'm going there. It's the Rams.
Wow.
I am I'm down on this Giants team. They are pathetic to say the least, and I think that the Rams are going to win this game. I mean, I'm not afraid to call it how I see it, and I'm going to do it. I'm going to shoot my shot. So the Rams minus 12 at home, and I guess for my leap, I'm going to go the Eagles against the Niners. I mean, the Eagles, as of recording today, the Eagles are 7-point dogs going into San Francisco, where we still don't know who's playing.
It's true.
So, I mean, they're obviously still out, their defensive line. So, that's not going to change. Sherman's still out. Their secondary is still banged up. Will Garoppolo play? Will he not play? Will Kittle play? Will he not play? So a lot of question marks. So a 7-point line against a Philly team that I don't think is that bad. Just haven't I guess caught many breaks. I'm going to lean on the Eagles.
All right, so for my lock, I would circle the wagons, but I don't like them going out west. So, I mean, I still got faith in my team, but I'm not shooting that shot. I am shooting the
Meanwhile,
shot.
me, the opposite.
Yeah, I'm shooting the shot at the easy fruit here. Because who is Atlanta?
What is Atlanta?
Burn it down.
They're going to Green Bay.
Yo.
Sure.
So if Aaron Rodgers doesn't throw for 500 yards...
Dude, I would not want to play him in fantasy.
Exactly. I think that they're going to set the example of just utter dominance on this one.
Sure.
So I'm taking the Packers 7.5 favorites. I think that's low-hanging fruit, but honestly, Atlanta, you haven't shown me anything all season, so you know what? You're not going to show me that now, especially traveling to Green Bay.
Burn it down.
Good luck, especially after doing another choke job. The anger is now coming out because of Henry. Okay, so anyway, getting back my leap, I'm going to roll some dice here. I really am. I'm drinking the New England Kool-Aid.
Holy shit.
I'm taking New England over Kansas City +7.
Yo.
Wow. Wow.
So if any team is going to find a way to slow down Patrick Mahomes, it's the one and only Bill Belichick.
Wow.
And I'm rolling some dice here. You know what? I think Cam Newton is playing at a level, and I think that New England's smart enough to have better play calling to keep Patrick Mahomes off the field.
Cam
Newton is going to have an all-star night. If this could have got flexed to 8 o'clock, I guarantee it would have. But I'm taking the Patriots. I know it sounds so weird, but let it roll.
Run the ball.
Run the ball. Cam, run it yourself if you needed to. Because you know what?
You got to tell Josh McDaniel that.
He's very good at that.
Yes, he is. So that is my picks. So that being all said, the music you heard on this episode of the ODPH podcast is that of Fair City Fire. They're our friends from Austin, Texas. Brian Wolf is doing a lot of stuff with his Patreon page. Did you know he had one? Well, if you swing on over to ochoduropolihour.com/music, you can definitely check it out because I know Fair City Fire has a link to it. You can also check out such friends of the show as Floodlands, Second Suitor, Tom Jolu, and Shout at the Robots because I want to give a special shout out to Shout. Say that 3 times fast. This Saturday night, twitch.tv/607podcast, they are going to be capping off DMG-a-thon, the all-day streaming event to help raise some money for our friends over at Dragon Master Games and some local charities that is put together by Rich from 3 Fat Nerds. They're going to be capping off the night, and they're going to be taking the stage at DMG at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, and the donation button is going to be up there. So any money that is donated during their set is going directly to the band because they have not played during COVID. So it's kind of our way of saying thank you for all the music you give us on all the 607 podcast channels. And it's going to be a fun day. We're going to be doing a live ODPH down there 6 p.m. I don't know exactly what we're doing yet. We're keeping it a big surprise. We're just going to roll in there and let the cameras go. But you're going to see our friends from Off the Cuff Gaming are going to be there. Tom's kicking off the day. Crazy Curtis Gaming is going on, which, by the way, Coach, he still has the challenge out. He wants that smoke.
Yo, we talked. I mean, if he wants to play 20, we'll play 20. But I am not playing 21 with the review that he gave me. I am not playing 21 as of right now.
Yeah.
Period.
So we got to see what's going on there. But there's going to be a lot of content. Horror Zone 607 is doing like a whole block of stuff. It's going to be a fun day, so definitely check on over to twitch.tv/607podcast. Drop that follow so you don't miss any minute of the content. But where do you find out about that? It's simple. It's ochoduropolihour.com. You can also check out the directory, which has organizational links to Black Lives Matter and voter registration. And you can also check out all the amazing pod groups we are in via their Podchaser pages. Shout out to Pod Nation. Shout out to Legion Independent Podcast. Shout out to Alternate Reality Radio. Shout out to the aPODalypse. And, of course, shout out to Hashtag 607 Podcast, which you can say everything that is going on with 8122 Productions on Twitch.tv this weekend. It's going to be a fun day. Like I say, I can't stress it enough. All of that information and so much more at OchoDuroParlayHour.com. That's all I got for this week. So for your coach, my coach, the coach, Coach Duffy.
Good night, and thank you, Henrique.
For the one and only Padawan J.
Go Yankees.
I'm your host, Ken M. Long live the king. Thank you, as always, for listening to the ODPH podcast, better known as the Ocho Duro Parlay Hour. We'll see you next time.